Hello, your channel Eugene Light Novels greets you. I hope you are enjoying these beautiful novels. Now, let's continue with the novel, Beast Energy Transformation, Invincible with an SSS-level wife. First part. Chapter 1. Returning from rebirth, first hug the Empress thigh tightly. The empty space in the brain. Su Liang was greedy for life and afraid of death, and lived for decades, but at this moment he felt that death was a kind of relief and a kind of glory. During the Battle of the Emperor's Fall, the stunning and talented Suzaku Empress by Qianqian was like an epiphyllum blooming in the midst of destruction. She shattered 10 divine seals and died together with the world-destroying beast. Su Liang was affected and perished, but he died without regrets. This was the last scene Su Liang saw, welcoming death calmly. Qingjue No. 2 Middle School. As dusk approaches and school is over, the cicadas keep chirping. On the playground, the school beauty Leng Lianshuang stood tall and graceful, wearing a small floral dress, like a delicate white flower, with a round and full chest, and a pair of long snow-white legs, which made people look at her and drool. She looked at Su Liang holding the flowers indifferently, maintaining her persona of being a cool school belle. The area was already crowded with students watching the theater. The school beauty is so beautiful. Tisk, tsk, tsk, this guy won't give up until he reaches the Yellow River. I really envy his courage. If he doesn't pee and take photos, the school beauty will fall in love with him. How many times has this been confessed to him? Are you still determined to give up? I think Su Liang from class 7 is quite handsome, and he is a classmate with the school beauty. They usually get close to each other. What if they succeed? I think the school beauty will not agree to anyone's confession until she wakes up. That's right, for a beauty like Leng Lianshuang, the person you want to choose must be someone who has awakened the A-level divine seal or above, right? There were chaotic sounds all around. Su Liang suddenly opened his eyes and gasped several times, looking around blankly. School? Didn't he die when the seal of Suzaku Empress by Qianqian exploded? He's not dead. The scene in front of me is really familiar. It was when he confessed his love to Leng Lianshuang in high school when he was 18 years old. He was reborn. Time has gone back. Su Liang was shocked, looking at the flowers in his arms, the touch, and the sultry heat of the hot summer. All prove that he is reborn. He has returned to his youth. Su Liang looked at Leng Lianshuang. This woman who had faded away in his memory unexpectedly appeared in front of him again. She is still shockingly beautiful. At the age of 18, she is even more innocent. She is the goddess of wet dreams for most of the boys in Qingjue No. 2 Middle School. Su Liang, have you made enough trouble? Leng Lianshuang said coldly and calmly. Su Liang rolled his eyes inwardly. As expected, he still said the same thing. Still the proud Leng Lianshuang, the aloof school beauty, the aloof Leng Lianshuang. In his previous life, Leng Lianshuang awakened the S-level divine seal and attracted everyone's attention. He climbed all the way up and became a 45th level 5 seal divine general. But he, despite all his efforts, only reached the 20-something level and was just a humble 3 seal general. Divine Master. Before Leng Lianshuang's awakening, her relationship with him was pretty good. To put it bluntly, he was more diligent in licking Leng Lianshuang. After she awakened the S-level divine seal, she took the initiative to distance herself from Su Liang, ignoring him and pretending she didn't know him. Yes. S-class is amazing, but it doesn't have to be so ruthless, right? Su Liang was disheartened. Bai Yueguang, whom he had been licking for several years, turned out to be so heartless. After awakening, he couldn't even be friends. Even when he encountered danger during a mission, Leng Lianshuang not only refused to save him, but also used his body to attract the attention of the alien beast, causing him to almost die in the mouth of the alien beast. This also completely made Su Liang see the woman in front of him clearly. Su Liang snorted lightly. Do you think I'm making trouble? Leng Lianshuang looked at him indifferently, with a trace of boredom flashing in her pupils. In the previous life, Su Liang didn't notice. It turned out that she had always been like this and only regarded him as an annoying licking dog. The classmates around me looked joking, it turned out to be a failure. The cold school beauty will not agree to your promise, just take a P***s and look at yourself. There was a burst of sarcastic voices all around. Lang Lianshuang said with an indifferent look, "Let me say it one last time, I will not agree to anyone's confession before Shinjue. If you do this again, then we will no longer be friends." Su Liang smiled, "Okay, then let's just stop doing it." Su Liang turned around and stuffed the bouquet of flowers into the trash can nearby. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. "What do you mean? Breaking the jar and breaking it? Is this because you are angry?" Lang Lianshuang was stunned for a moment. What did he mean? Throw the flowers away if you don't agree? She didn't say she wouldn't accept the flowers, right? He seems a little different today, his eyes have changed. But it doesn't matter anymore. When the time comes, are you going to come to her and apologize to her with licking your face? Lang Lianshuang snorted coldly, "Okay, if you have the ability, you should never appear in front of me." Hearing this, Su Liang sneered. "I don't know who gave you the confidence." Now that he was reborn, he wished he could stay away from her. He knows the major events that will happen in the next few decades and has the advantage of being a prophet, and there is one most important point. The future Suzaku Empress by Qianqian is still a student like him. Still his classmate. How could he possibly lick Lang Lianshuang, a femme fatale, in this life? Wouldn't it be delicious to lick the future empress and hug her thighs tightly? Thinking of this, Su Liang felt slightly shuddered. If he knows the real reason for the empress's downfall, then he has a chance to prevent that tragedy. Will the empress die? Thinking of this, Su Liang was ecstatic. This was the opportunity given to him by God. He had to hug the empress' thigh tightly and never let go. Su Liang suddenly felt better and a smile appeared on his face. Lang Lianshuang was very angry. Who gave her the confidence? Does Lang Lianshuang need others to give her confidence? Su Liang, don't regret it. Lang Lianshuang said coldly. Su Liang smiled and said, "I regret chicken feathers? You are not a fairy." The students watching the theater around were dumbfounded. Could this Su Liang have lost his mind and gone crazy? If he doesn't love, he will be hurt. Lang Lianshuang was also a little angry. What happened to Su Liang suddenly? She turned around and wanted to leave, vowing not to pay attention to him. At this moment, a cold and stern voice sounded. "Su Liang, are you looking for death? I told you, stop pestering Lianshuang. I said, if you pester her once, I will beat you once." This voice sounded, and the people around were startled. Yes, Zhang Tianhao, squad leader of Class 7. Su Liang is going to die. Zhang Tianhao is also Lang Lianshuang's fanatical suitor. The two of them have been refusing to deal with each other, so Zhang Tianhao will definitely take action. Zhang Tianhao's fighting skills are A+, Su Liang is going to be in trouble. Su Liang's fighting skills are only B level, so he will definitely not be able to defeat him. At this moment, a figure as fast as the wind sprang out from behind Lang Lianshuang. He raised his hand and punched Su Liang in the face. The surrounding students seemed to be watching the excitement. The school does not prohibit students from competing with each other. After all, fighting is a required course for them. This is all preparation for divine enlightenment. Look at that menacing fist. Su Liang seemed calm. Zhang Tianhao also took action in the previous life. He suffered some hardships, but his brain was still convulsed and he continued to lick Lang Lianshuang. But things are different now. He is reborn and will not repeat the same mistakes. Decades of actual combat in his previous life have accumulated fighting skills that have long surpassed the school level. Facing that punch, Su Liang didn't panic at all. Instead, he glanced at Lang Lianshuang, who was watching coldly. At this time, Lang Lianshuang seemed to want Zhang Tianhao to teach Su Liang a lesson, as if he was watching a show. Zhang Tianhao's fist was extremely strong. If this punch were to land, Master Su Liang would vomit blood. The classmates were all shocked. Has Su Liang given up resistance? No reaction at all? At this moment, it seemed that the students had already anticipated the scene of Su Liang vomiting blood and flying out. Some girls who didn't like blood closed their eyes. But the next scene shocked some students. Su Liang was seen facing the menacing punch without any panic, and simply turned sideways. He easily dodged Zhang Tianhao's punch. Following the trend, a fierce light flashed in Su Liang's pupils. In the past, he had suffered a lot in the hands of Zhang Tianhao. Now I have to get some back. Sideways to avoid Zhang Tianhao's fist, Zhang Tianhao punched the air, his center of gravity shifted, and his lower body was unstable. Su Liang turned around and elbowed him, hitting him hard on the back. Surprisingly powerful. Bang! A muffled groan sounded. Zhang Tianhao was in pain and was knocked out. If you drop a dog, it will eat shit. The scene fell silent for an instant, and everyone's eyes widened. What happened? Even Lang Lianshuang's cold eyes showed a look of astonishment. Such a reaction, degrade? Su Liang raised the corners of his mouth slightly and stretched his young body. How cool! I, Su Liang, am reborn. Chapter 2 Empress Development Plan. Zhang Tianhao didn't even know how he was knocked out. He only felt a burning pain on his back. At the same time, a feeling of extreme embarrassment crept into my heart. He was actually beaten away by Su Liang, a guy with B-level fighting skills? No. Absolutely impossible. It must have been Su Liang's accident, it was his mistake. Zhang Tianhao lay on the ground, slapped his palms on the ground hard, turned his body over, stood up like a carp, and stood up instantly. Su Liang! Zhang Tianhao shouted angrily. The students who were in a daze around them also woke up. What just happened? How did Su Liang, who was supposed to fly out, turn into Zhang Tianhao? There are 4 general levels of combat skills from D to A. Each level also has a subtle 3-level division, such as A-, and A+. Su Liang is only AB, while Zhang Tianhao is an A+. There is still a lot of difference between them. No matter how you put it, Su Liang should have been beaten out by Zhang Tianhao. But now Zhang Tianhao was beaten out, and his clothes had holes due to friction. Zhang Tianhao was furious. Someone said, it must be an accident. Su Liang cannot be Zhang Tianhao's opponent. Yes, it might be a coincidence. Su Liang is even more unlucky now. He just received a punch. Zhang Tianhao might have let it go, but now. Many classmates shook their heads. If Su Liang didn't vomit a few mouthfuls of blood today, he might not have a good death. Zhang Tianhao felt a little better after hearing these words. Fortunately, he didn't lose too much face. Next, I will definitely beat Su Liang to pieces. Zhang Tianhao snorted coldly, do you think that by a coincidence, you will be my opponent? By clinging to Lianshuang, you are seeking death. Su Liang sneered, did you eat shit at noon? Are you so loud? Hearing this, the students were shocked. He actually dared to anger Zhang Tianhao. Zhang Tianhao shouted angrily and stamped his foot, this time even more brutally. I'll eat your mother. There was wind under his feet, and he raised his fist to attack Su Liang. Su Liang still looked calm. Many students sighed in their hearts, Su Liang really broke the pot and was going to be in bad luck. Zhang Tianhao originally had a good family background, and there were elders who were chosen by God at home, so most people would not dare to mess with him. There was only one person in the audience, and he noticed something strange. It's Lang Lianshuang. She actually knows Su Liang very well. At this time, Su Liang didn't panic at all when facing Zhang Tianhao, who had an A+ fighting skill. This is abnormal. Su Liang was definitely not like this before. The next scene also confirmed Lang Lianshuang's guess. Zhang Tianhao's attacks were extremely cruel, and all his moves were aimed at Su Liang's vital points. The school allows fighting and sparring, but it can't cause trouble. Students who haven't awakened yet are all precious little things. But Zhang Tianhao obviously has no scruples about such things. His family is rich and powerful, so he is not afraid of these things at all. Su Liang humiliated him so much, he definitely couldn't let it go. But even though he attacked very fiercely, after one attack, he didn't even touch a corner of Su Liang's clothes. Instead, I felt like I was being played by Su Liang, an old man playing with a naughty boy. Look, although Su Liang has been retreating, his pace is not messy at all. When did he become so strong? Isn't he more than B-level? Many people were slightly shocked. Seeing that he could not hit Su Liang, Zhang Tianhao shouted angrily. Are you cowering? Do you dare to accept the move? Su Liang sneered. It was too easy to control Zhang Tianhao. Then let me give you some color to see. With Su Liang's current fighting skills, playing him is still very easy. Su Liang dodged Zhang Tianhao's attack sideways, and landed another elbow strike. The scene just now was repeated again, and Zhang Tianhao actually fell to the ground again. It caused an exclamation. What happened? What is going on? Why can't Zhang Tianhao hurt Su Liang? It's so weird. Is Su Liang's fighting skills really only B-level? Zhang Tianhao lay on the ground, extremely ashamed and annoyed. I'm going to kill you. Su Liang had a sarcastic smile on his face, idiot. But at this moment, the head teacher who had not stopped him from behind frowned. What happened to Zhang Tianhao? If this continues, Zhang Tianhao may be unlucky. She spoke quickly. Stop it all. She pretended to run in a hurry. She wore a white shirt on her upper body, with a hood looming underneath, and a tight-fitting hip skirt on her lower body, which outlined her buttocks lines slightly seductively. She wears black-rimmed glasses. Angry. Su Liang was slightly startled when he saw the person coming. It turned out to be this Master Jijia. Liao Yuqian, the head teacher of Class 7 and a 10th-level junior divine chooser, chose to teach in this middle school because the upper limit was here. Master Mijia is an old maid, a snobbery with a temper even bigger than that of a divine general. Her appearance made it difficult for Su Liang to take action again. It seemed that there was no chance to teach Zhang Tianhao a lesson, so Su Liang put away his thoughts. Liao Yuqian looked at Su Liang and yelled angrily, Su Liang, what are you making a fuss about? School is over. Go home quickly. If you want to compete, go to the fighting class to compete. Don't make trouble here. Su Liang was a little confused by the spray. Teacher, this is not me. Not a word has been finished yet. Liao Yuqian looked disgusted and scolded angrily. Shut up. Su Liang held back his breath. You old maid, are you making trouble? Not even given a chance to explain. The old maid turned around and walked to Zhang Tianhao. Zhang Tianhao, are you okay? Zhang Tianhao was so embarrassed that he didn't want to reply at all. Liao Yuqian saw the injuries on Zhang Tianhao's body. He turned to look at Su Liang angrily. Look at the good things you did. How could you have dealt with such a heavy hand during a fight with a classmate? You're already bleeding. Go back and write me a 10,000-word review. Damn it, this old maid is no longer a human being. Su Liang was going to be mad at this old maid. Teacher, it's not me who is causing trouble. It's not you who started the trouble. I only saw you using despicable means to hurt Zhang Tianhao. Liao Yuqian scolded angrily. Su Liang now wanted to give this old maid a hard fight, and her snobbery was really vividly demonstrated by her. Isn't it because Zhang Tianhao's family is powerful? The classmates around him whispered that it was obviously not Su Liang's fault. Zhang Tianhao felt his face burning. Liao Yuqian seemed to have noticed something. Get out of here. Don't you want to go home? Liao Yuqian scolded everyone around her. Suddenly everyone started to disperse. Liao Yuqian glanced at Su Liang. I want to see your review tomorrow. Su Liang rolled his eyes. I'll test your mother. He turned and left, not wanting to meet this old maid. Leng Lianshuang was silent for a while and glanced at Su Liang's back. He didn't even say hello. Leng Lianshuang also left. Zhang Tianhao was a little anxious. Teacher, thank you. I'm fine. I'll leave first. Zhang Tianhao hurriedly caught up with Leng Lianshuang. Liao Yuqian also wanted to express condolences to Zhang Tianhao, but she had no chance. Lianshuang, I'll take you home. It's a pity that no matter how enthusiastic Zhang Tianhao is, Leng Lianshuang still has the same expression, cold. No need. Leng Lianshuang responded coldly. Zhang Tianhao smiled awkwardly. Okay, don't worry, if Su Liang pesters you again, I will help you run away. Leng Lianshuang ignored his words. What she is thinking about now is what Su Liang just said, why don't we just stop being friends? Su Liang seems to be a little different today. Lianshuang, do you want to go to my fighting field to practice more today? You will be awakened soon. I'm not going today. Leng Lianshuang seemed a little absent-minded. Zhang Tianhao smiled and said, okay, let's talk about it tomorrow. Zhang Tianhao looked at the direction Su Liang disappeared with a gloomy expression on his face. Do you want me to be embarrassed in front of Lianshuang? This matter is not over yet. Wait for me in tomorrow's fighting class. After Su Liang left the playground, he cursed the old maid twice. This woman tried so hard to hug her thigh in her last life, but in the end she only reached the level of a 13th level 2 seal divine envoy. Her ugly face was disgusting to look at. Later she seemed to become the dean's mistress and was eventually expelled. Su Liang quickly put it behind him. After thinking about it for a while, I am afraid it will be a bit difficult to survive in this life with my rookie talent. You must hug Empress Suzaku's thigh tightly. She is the top divine chosen one who has awakened the SSS-level divine seal. Gods blocked the killing gods all the way, and they reached the realm of the 10th seal god emperor by force. Became the 4th god emperor of China and the only female god emperor. In her previous life, she was like a delicate epiphyllum. It was such a pity that she fell after becoming the god emperor for only such a long time. But her record is very terrifying. Throughout her life, she was very aloof and rejected people thousands of miles away. Created her own Suzaku celestial army. But she is also lonely. Rumor has it that she has always been alone along the way. He was not greedy for pleasure and spent most of his time immersed in the war with strange beasts. He killed countless 8- and 9-star beasts and became a new generation totem of China. The other 3 god emperors all wanted to marry him, but they were all rejected. She should have continued to shine. But she was stabbed in the back by a traitor, a Shenzong marshal in his 80s, who severely wounded her at the most critical moment of her battle. She was injured, so in the final battle, she had to kill the 10-star alien beast at the cost of self-destructing the divine seal. Now that Su Liang has returned from rebirth, he thinks that with his talent, he may end up becoming a 3-seal master in this life. It's better to hug the Empress thigh tightly. Those who can awaken the divine seal are called the chosen ones, and there are actually not many such people, maybe 3 out of 10, but 2.5 of them are the lowest level divine seals, and there is no way to become powerful. The chosen one, similar to the spinster. God's chosen one, 1 seal level 10. 1 seal of God's chosen one. 2 seal divine envoy. 3 seal master. The 4 seal gods. 5 seal divine general. 6 seal divine king. The lord of the 7 seals. 8 seal gods. Jiuyin Shenzong. The 10 seal god emperor. The awakened divine seals also have grades. Divided into 6 grades, C, B, A, S, SS, SSS. He only awakened B-level divine seals, a la carte. In his lifetime, the 3 seal divine master may be his limit. At that time, he was ridiculed. His fighting skills were B, and his divine seal was B, which was collectively called BB. It's really better to hug the future empress's thigh tightly and change his and the empress's fate. The current empress is also an ordinary person who has not awakened. Then there is a chance. The Suzaku Empress, who was decisive in killing later, never laughed with anyone. Such a frosty character had a lot to do with her family and some of her experiences in her current student days. In other words, Bai Qianqian's life is not good now, it can even be said to be very bad. The legendary life of Empress Suzaku was later revealed by many people, including the Shinjue Middle School, which benefited a lot from it. The city they were in, Chengdu, had also risen several levels with the birth of Empress Suzaku. Su Liang thought for a moment. He remembered that in his previous life, because he and Empress Suzaku were high school classmates, he had always looked up to Bai Qianqian. But between them, one is a superior empress, and the other is a low-level chosen one with rubbish talent. There will be no intersection between them. But he had carefully investigated and reviewed his high school life. Everything about Bai Qianqian was recorded in detail. He remembered that it seemed that after his confession, Bai Qianqian didn't come to school for more than a week. Did something happen to her today? Su Liang thought for a moment and decided that he should go take a look and establish a good relationship with Bai Qianqian from now on. The corners of Su Liang's mouth raised slightly. He ran directly towards Bai Qianqian's residence. A bold idea arose in my mind: is it necessary to cultivate an empress? Hey. Chapter 3, Kidnap the Empress Home. East of Rongcheng, a civilian community, there are no high-rise buildings, just ordinary simple houses. The girl who had just arrived at the door of her house had not had time to put down her school bag. I heard the drunken cursing voice coming from inside the house. B****ch, where's the wine? Go buy me some wine quickly. Where is the money to buy you a drink? You dare to talk back? Do you think I don't know you have hidden the money? Go buy me a drink quickly, or I'll beat you to death. There was a choking sound in the room. Bai Huajing, if you can, beat me to death. I don't want to live anyway. If it weren't for Qianqian, do you think I would be willing to serve you? Have you ever made a penny in the past few years? You can drink and gamble. Are you still a man? Damn it, you ***ch, you still dare to scold me? Without me, can you live till now? I'll beat you to death. Snap. The sound of the slap could be heard outside the house. At the same time, there was a tinkling sound. At this moment, the girl's eyes turned red. He rushed into the house like crazy. Then I saw my mother lying on the ground with bleeding forehead. Bai Qianqian seemed to be crazy. My whole body was shaking. Mom! She quickly ran over and helped her mother up from the ground. A look of distress on his face. She glanced fiercely at the drunken and unapologetic man. I already hate him deeply in my heart. Bai Huajing saw Bai Qianqian coming back and didn't care about the injured Lu Xian. Girl, go buy me a drink. Bai Qianqian's tears were already streaming down her face. He roared angrily, why don't I drink you to death? Get out of here. When Bai Huajing heard this, he seemed to be irritated for a moment. Damn it, little girl, how dare you talk back to your father and me? See if I don't beat you to death. The man rushed in front of Bai Qianqian in an instant and slapped Bai Qianqian's delicate face hard. Snap. Lu Xian, who was in a daze, felt her heart bleed when she saw this scene. Beast! Bai Huajing, Qianqian is your daughter. Bai Qianqian was slapped to the ground, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. But she didn't cry out in pain, it seemed to be something she was used to. Her heart was filled with despair, and she vowed to take her mother and escape from the clutches of this beast as soon as possible. Qianqian, are you okay? Lu Xian hugged Bai Qianqian's delicate body. Bai Qianqian looked calm and shook her head. Mom, it's okay. Come on, I'll take you to the hospital. Bai Qianqian wanted to help Lu Xian up. But Bai Huajing would definitely not give in. You have money to go to the hospital, but no money to buy alcohol? Hurry up. Go buy me a drink. Bai Huajing was roaring, looking so drunk that he seemed about to fall down, but he still had an obsession with wine. Bai Qianqian looked at her alcoholic father fiercely. Kill us to death if you can. Bai Huajing yelled angrily, okay. I will beat you to death today, and it will be over. Bai Huajing was like a wild beast, his eyes were red. In his eyes, there was no family affection at all. He picked up a stick next to him and swung it viciously at the mother and daughter. I asked you not to buy me wine. At this moment, Bai Qianqian was really desperate. I just hugged my mother tightly. If you really want to die, just die. There is no point in living anyway. Lu Xian screamed. Ah! At this critical moment, a figure rushed into the house instantly. He hugged Bai Qianqian's mother and daughter, and used his back to block Bai Huajing's stick. Bang! A dull sound resounded inside the house. At this moment, the pain she imagined did not come, and Bai Qianqian was stunned. Someone clearly appeared behind her holding their mother and daughter. She turned her head suddenly and saw a strange yet familiar face appearing right next to her own. This is classmate Su Liang. The Su Liang who likes Leng Lianshuang. Why did he appear here? And he protected them. At this moment, Su Liang seemed to be a beam of light in Bai Qianqian's gloomy life, illuminating her. Su Liang's face almost turned into a chrysanthemum. He didn't care about the light. He didn't believe in the light now, he only believed in his fists. His uncle's current body would be really hot after receiving such a stick. Without the divine seal to protect his body, he is really a weakling. But I can't care about that much now. He suddenly turned his head and looked at the drunken Bai Huajing. Bai Huajing yelled angrily, "Damn it, B****ch, this is the pretty boy you stole, right? Okay. I'll beat you B***** to death today." Bai Huajing pretended to swing the stick down again. Su Liang's eyes flashed with fierceness. Damn it, how could such a beast exist in this world? Seeing that the stick was about to fall, Su Liang reacted quickly. After all, he was very experienced in fighting. He dodged and avoided Bai Huajing's drunken stick. Moving sideways to his side, a fierce hand knife struck him directly on the back of the head. Bai Huajing fell to the ground and fainted. Su Liang felt a burning pain in his palm, and felt that the bones were cracked. This time, he exhausted all his strength, just to avoid knocking him out. Seeing the drunk man fainting, he breathed a sigh of relief. Look at Bai Qianqian and her daughter. Bai Qianqian, are you okay? Bai Qianqian was still at a loss. She couldn't figure out how this boy, who rarely talked to her, suddenly appeared here and saved them. Su Liang was also stunned for a while. It was really unimaginable for him that the Suzaku Empress, who would be as high as a queen in the future, could be so pitiful now, with tears on her delicate face and a trace of blood dripping from the corner of her mouth. I felt pity for her. He had seen the promotional poster of Empress Suzaku, that noble and cold goddess-like figure, her eyes full of noble indifference. How could he imagine that at this time, she would be such a thin and pitiful little girl? And she also experienced such a bloody thing. No wonder she would be alone in the future. This kind of native family made her heart feel frozen. Su Liang felt as if he was in another world. He didn't expect that in this life, he would be so close to the future legendary empress. And he also saved her, hug the future empress tightly and start from now on. Lu Xian shouted, "Qianqian." Bai Qianqian woke up, "Mom, I'm fine. Come, let me help you up. Let me help you." Su Liang hurried over and helped Lu Xian up. They glanced at Bai Huajing lying on the ground. Lu Xian's tears couldn't stop flowing, full of regret. But he still asked, Su Liang said calmly, "Auntie, don't worry, he just fainted and will be fine. You are injured. You must treat your injuries quickly." Lu Xian nodded, trying to calm down her mood and hold back her tears. "You are Qianqian's classmate, right?" "Auntie, I am Bai Qianqian's classmate. My name is Su Liang." At this time, Bai Qianqian also looked at Su Liang. "Thank you, you seem to be injured too, is it serious?" Su Liang shook his head, "It's okay, it's you. I'll take you to the hospital." Lu Xian shook her head repeatedly, "No, thank you Xiao Su. For you to see such an embarrassing scene." Su Liang shook his head and said, "Auntie, this is what we should do. Don't worry, I won't go out and talk nonsense. But your injuries really need to be dealt with, and I have to deal with them too. Besides, you don't want to wait for him to wake up and do domestic violence to you again, right? Should we leave quickly?" Lu Xian was a little hesitant. She just didn't have the money to go to the hospital. Bai Qianqian also said, "Mom, go to the small clinic to take care of it. It's okay. I still have some money. Su Liang didn't say anything. But I also heard that their family is living very hard now. Su Liang finally understood. No wonder Bai Qianqian didn't go to school for a week in her previous life. It must be because the mother and daughter received a severe beating today. They were seriously injured and both went to the hospital. I really can't believe that the future empress would have such a miserable life during her student days. With Su Liang's help, they went to the clinic to check and treat the wounds and injuries on their bodies. A long bruise appeared on Su Liang's back. Bai Qianqian felt guilty for a while. Until it was taken care of, the two people stood at the door of the clinic. I'm sorry to hurt you too. Bai Qianqian lowered her head and squeezed her little hands with calluses. At this time, Su Liang really took a look at this girl. She actually has a good foundation, but maybe due to long-term malnutrition, she looks a little thin. But those eyes were clear. Judging from the situation in the previous life, Leng Lianshuang is just a piece of school beauty. The one in front of me is the school beauty. As long as you dress up a little and supplement your nutrition, you can beat Leng Lianshuang for 18 years. Su Liang showed a gentle smile. It's okay. I'm a boy. Anyway, I will get injured when I fight a lot. I'll be fine soon. Bai Qianqian raised her head and glanced at Su Liang, only to realize that Su Liang was looking at her now. She quickly lowered her head again. I will pay you back the medical expenses. Su Liang shook his head. No, it doesn't cost much. No, I must pay it back. Bai Qianqian shook her head. Su Liang smiled and didn't insist. If you want to pay it back, I won't accept it. Are you guys going home later? He won't let it go when he wakes up. Hearing this, a trace of confusion flashed across Bai Qianqian's clear eyes. If you don't go home, where can you go? Su Liang hesitated for a moment. How about taking the empress home? How about you and your mother move to my house and stay away from that drunkard? Hearing this, Bai Qianqian was stunned for a moment and looked at Su Liang in disbelief. She seemed to have heard wrongly. Let them stay at his house? Chapter 4 Bloodthirsty Rat. Su Liang looked at Bai Qianqian's shocked look and smiled to himself. Now Bai Qianqian does look very thin, but her smart eyes are very beautiful. In other words, it can be salty or sweet. She can be a high and mighty queen, but she can also be as cute as she is now. Su Liang explained, my house is a small courtyard with 2 vacant rooms. I live with my grandfather and there is no one else at home. If you think you can, just move here with your mother. After all, if your father is violent to you again, it will be a problem. Bai Qianqian was a little flustered. She never expected that Su Liang would make such a suggestion. She shook her head decisively. No, thank you for your kindness. I'd better not bother you. My mother won't agree. Su Liang sighed slightly. Okay, then I won't force it. At this time, Lu Xian had already walked out. Qianqian, go home. Bai Qianqian nodded. Well, Mom, I'll help you. Bai Qianqian held Lu Xian's arm. She glanced at Su Liang. Su Liang, you should go back quickly. It's getting dark and it's not safe outside. Su Liang was silent for a moment and said, I'll take you home, and then I'll go home again. Bai Qianqian was still hesitating. Lu Xian smiled and said, Xiao Liang, you are so kind-hearted, so thank you. Su Liang grinned, Auntie, this is what we should do. Qianqian and I are classmates, so we help each other. Lu Xian smiled and nodded. Bai Qianqian's heart skipped a beat. Qianqian? She lowered her head slightly, not daring to look at Su Liang. Su Liang, what does this mean? Is it a coincidence that I appear here today? Still. Bai Qianqian dismissed the ridiculous thoughts in her heart. Everyone knows that Su Liang likes the school beauty Leng Lianshuang. How could he like an ugly duckling like her? Must be just a coincidence. However, I didn't expect that Su Liang was such a good person at heart. Because of the particularity of today's world, the world underwent a sudden change 300 years ago. Countless alien beasts swept through human society, and the world's population plummeted. Today, the global population is less than 1 billion. In order to reduce the attention of city lights to strange beasts in the sky at night. At certain times in the evening, high-brightness lighting is not allowed. There are fewer high-rise buildings, and even fewer in urban areas like this. The sky is getting darker and there are fewer pedestrians on the road. Go back quickly, it will delay Xiaoliang's return home later. Su Liang smiled, Auntie, don't worry. Generally speaking, there won't be any big problems. There are also city defenders patrolling at night. Civilian area. There was a faint smell of blood floating in the air. A man in black robe suddenly appeared at the end of an alley. Captain. We have arrived at the designated location. Soon, the voices of two other people came from the headset, one man and one woman. Captain. We have arrived at the designated location. Captain. We have arrived at the designated location. Immediately afterwards, a cold and stern man's voice came from the headset. Open the Forbidden God realm. Yes. 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 At the same time, in two other directions in the civilian area, the same figure in black robe made the same action at the same time. I saw the man in black robe took off a piece of metal the size of a human head from his back and threw it to the ground. At the same time, a palm was slapped on the iron block, and a mark on their arm shone brightly. He shouted softly, Open. At the same time, the same voices as the other two teammates came from the headset. In an instant, the iron block under the palm of the black-robed man shot out a beam of light nearly 100 meters high toward the sky. The light beam splits out two walls of light and shadow. Light pillars and light and shadow walls were also emitted from the other two directions. The connection is completed in an instant. Looking down from the sky, it looks like a huge triangular cage. After doing all this, the man in black robe relaxed a little. The captain's cold voice came from the headset. Everyone else, hunt down the bloodthirsty rats immediately. Reduce casualties and losses. Yes. The man listened to the voice coming from his ears, his expression was quite calm. He took out his cigarette, lit it, and blew out a smoke ring. Smoke rings floated slowly in the dark night, then gradually twisted and collapsed. He was in a trance for a while, and suddenly a clear and lively girl's voice came from the headset, but it was very urgent. Captain. Two bloodthirsty rats were detected and escaped from the Forbidden God realm from underground. Captain, in which direction? The girl's voice soon came, in the direction of Lao Gong. Hearing this, the man was instantly shaken, and his eyes flashed with a sharp and fierce light. The captain's voice came. Gong Lai leaves it to you. Gong Lai's lips curled up, yes. Xiaolan, give me a seat. The girl's clear voice came from the headset. Now they have passed through the Forbidden God realm and are heading west, about 1.5 kilometers away. Good. Gong Lai turned into a black shadow and galloped through the dark night. On the other side, Bai Qianqian and her daughter had just been delivered to their door. They all saw the light of the Forbidden God realm. Lu Xian's face looked a little ugly. I really don't know what kind of strange beast is coming. Xiao Liang, it might be dangerous to leave now. How about you stay here tonight? Hearing this, Bai Qianqian seemed a little panicked. Live here? So where does he live? It can't be that he shares a room with her, right? But there are no other rooms in her house. Su Liang glanced at the Forbidden God realm and said, Auntie, maybe this cleanup will be quick. As long as the Forbidden God realm disappears, it means that the alien beasts have been killed. How about I just wait for a while? In fact, for Su Liang, he knew very well that it didn't matter whether the Forbidden God realm disappeared or not, and danger existed at all times. Lu Xian said, actually, it's okay, you just need to live here. Bai Qianqian didn't dare to speak at all. Su Liang smiled, Auntie, let's see again. They had just arrived at the door of their house. An angry voice came from inside the house. B****ch. Where have you gone? Where's my wine? Where's my dinner? The drunk figure ran out of the door again. an angry look on his face. Su Liang frowned, but he hadn't sobered up yet. How much had he drank? When Lu Xian and Bai Qianqian saw Bai Huajing's appearance, they felt unspeakably bitter. Lu Xian suppressed the sadness in her heart and said, "I will cook for you right away." Bai Huajing's eyes seemed to harden a little. He seemed to have remembered something. ****ch. You actually brought the pretty boy home? It was the pretty boy who beat me just now, right? ****ch. Steal someone behind my back. I'll beat you to death. Bai Huajing went crazy, picked up the wooden stick at the door and rushed towards Lu Xian and the others again. Lu Xian was extremely miserable. What kind of evil had she done? Bai Qianqian was already desperate for him. Looking at this man, there was not even a trace of emotion in her eyes. Su Liang stepped forward slightly. In this situation, it was not suitable for mother and daughter to continue living here. Sooner or later, he will be beaten to death by this drunkard. ****ch. Stealing people. Bai Huajing raised his stick and hit them. Su Liang was already prepared to deal with it. Bai Qianqian and her daughter didn't move at all, not even wanting to resist. And at this critical moment, in the dark night, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind Bai Huajing. Just when Bai Huajing was about to wave the wooden stick in his hand, the group photo behind him suddenly stood up, opened its bloody mouth, and bit Bai Huajing's shoulder. This moment. Ah! A shrill scream sounded. Su Liang's eyes widened. Bloodthirsty rat. The mother and daughter who had closed their eyes opened their eyes at this time and saw a horrifying scene. The blood flowed from Bai Huajing's shoulder, looking so bloody. Yeah, the mother and daughter screamed, their faces already pale. The bloodthirsty rat stood up, 2 heads taller than Bai Huajing, with a pair of scarlet eyes full of ferocity. Biting Bai Huajing hard and swinging him in the air. Bai Huajing's screams seemed to echo hundreds of meters away. The 2 mother and daughter were so frightened that they could not walk. Lu Xian looked at Bai Huajing's appearance, feeling extremely sad in her heart. Huajing. Although Bai Huajing was drunk and violent, Lu Xian still felt a little uncomfortable at this time. Bai Qianqian was also confused. Su Liang couldn't care less. This is a 1-star alien beast. If the chosen one does not come, there is almost no chance of winning. He took the mother and daughter's hands. Let's go. At this time, don't think about saving people, just run. If it were his previous life, it would be very easy for Su Liang to crush a bloodthirsty rat to death. But now he has not awakened the divine seal. Both mother and daughter were still confused. Lu Xian was pulled by Su Liang. She looked back at Bai Huajing, whose screams were gradually getting deeper. Tears had already wet her cheeks. After a bloodthirsty rat finds its prey, it will basically not attack other people. So, now is the only chance to run. But just when Su Liang took the mother and daughter and ran 10 meters away, Su Liang pulled the 2 mother and daughter's footsteps and suddenly froze. In front of Su Liang, a similar bloodthirsty rat appeared. Su Liang's head thumped. It's over. The next moment, the bloodthirsty rat rushed towards Su Liang and the others like they had seen a delicious dinner. Chapter 5 I Want Your Life. Seeing that the bloodthirsty rat had already opened its bloody mouth and rushed towards them. It's almost an instinctive reaction. Su Liang pushed the mother and daughter away. This was his instinctive reaction after being the chosen one for decades. The moment the bloodthirsty rat pounced on him, Su Liang unleashed his full potential, burst out with strength, and made a sliding shovel, narrowly escaping from being killed by the bloodthirsty rat. The bloodthirsty rat rushed to the other side. He quickly turned his head and stared at the 3 of them. Su Liang knew that at this time, he had to take the initiative, otherwise mother and daughter would definitely suffer. And Su Liang also understood why Bai Qianqian disappeared for a week in his previous life. It must have been that night when both her parents were killed by the bloodthirsty rats. That is to say, she has been alone since then, without any relatives to accompany her. She has been killing strange beasts like crazy. No time to think too much. Su Liang rushed towards the bloodthirsty rat. He knew that he was just trying to shake the tree, but he had to do it. He pulled out a short dagger from his waist, and the dagger shone with a cold light. This is the weapon that his grandfather gave him for self-defense. Hold the dagger upright and perform an offensive and culling posture. This is his decades of fighting experience. In the blink of an eye, he had already reached the bloodthirsty rat. The bloodthirsty rat opened its claws and rushed towards Su Liang. The extremely sharp claws were tearing towards Su Liang. Su Liang saw the opportunity, stepped down suddenly, rolled sideways, and slid behind the bloodthirsty rat. The dagger in his hand suddenly stabbed down. The bloodthirsty rat's fur was cut open, leaving a long bloodstain on its right rear, and blood flowed out. The pain drives the bloodthirsty rats crazy. Neighing. Now he has completely focused on Su Liang. He rushed towards Su Liang like crazy. Su Liang did not panic. At this time, he must be calm and clearly control the bloodthirsty rat's attack route. With his current physical condition, if the bloodthirsty rat gets a chance, he will definitely die. He tried his best to avoid it and looked for the right opportunity to strike. Fortunately, the dagger given by Grandpa was not simple, and could easily tear through the fur of a bloodthirsty rat. This gave him hope of living. One man and one mouse were fighting frantically. Darkness enveloped them, and their vision began to be blocked. On the other side, Lu Xian, who had fallen on the ground, quickly crawled to Bai Qianqian's side. Bai Qianqian was still confused and panicked. It seemed that the only scene in his mind was the scene of Bai Huajing being bitten by a bloodthirsty rat. Qianqian. Qianqian. Lu Xian shook Bai Qianqian. Bai Qianqian just woke up from the shock. Mom. Tears fell from Bai Qianqian's eyes. Lu Xian also cried so hard that she knew clearly that her alcoholic man was probably in danger. Qianqian, we have to leave quickly to find help, Xiao Liang. After hearing this, Bai Qianqian suddenly came to her senses. Suddenly he looked at Su Liang, who was fighting the bloodthirsty rat. She was extremely anxious. If it weren't for this incident in her family, Su Liang would never have been involved in such a danger. Su Liang. Be careful. Bai Qianqian watched the battle between one person and one mouse. I was also very shocked. How could Su Liang persist for so long? How is this possible? Is Su Liang really a B-level fighter? Impossible, even those A-level students in the school cannot achieve this level. In the dark night, Su Liang seemed to be a different person. Leaving wounds on the bloodthirsty rats again and again. This kind of bloodthirsty rat has low intelligence and only knows how to fight instinctively. If it had been anything else, Su Liang might have been unlucky because he hadn't awakened the divine seal yet. Blood flowed from the bloodthirsty rat. Su Liang had begun to breathe heavily. I'm too tired, and my current physical fitness simply can't keep up. At the next moment, the crazy bloodthirsty rat suddenly swung its tail towards Su Liang. It was like an extremely fierce whip that hit Su Liang's chest directly. Bang! Su Liang was sent flying more than 10 meters. Ah! Su Liang! Bai Qianqian exclaimed. He ran towards Su Liang desperately. Su Liang spit out a mouthful of blood, his whole body was shaking, and the severe pain in his chest made him a little confused. Damn it, you won't be buried in the mouth of this beast just after you are reborn, right? He stared at the bloodthirsty rat gloomily. She saw Bai Qianqian running towards her. Su Liang was anxious. Don't come here. Run. The bloodthirsty rat hissed and locked its gaze on Bai Qianqian. It seemed to know that Su Liang was a bit difficult to deal with, so it wanted to change its target. When Su Liang discovered this, he got up like crazy and ran towards Bai Qianqian's direction. The bloodthirsty rat also moved, running towards Bai Qianqian. At this moment, Lu Xian was so frightened that she lost her mind. Qianqian. Bai Qianqian finally saw the bloodthirsty rat running towards her. Her little face turned pale instantly. She watched the bloodthirsty rat, which was 2 or 3 heads taller than her, rush towards her. She was stunned and felt despair. Was she going to die here today? Let's go. Su Liang's soft drink pulled her back from her daze. Then Bai Qianqian saw Su Liang suddenly hit the bloodthirsty rat. He forcefully knocked the bloodthirsty rat away. One person and one mouse rubbed Bai Qianqian's side and fell to the side. Her face turned white and she was frozen in place, unable to move. The bloodthirsty rat's tail swept and threw Bai Qianqian away. Bai Qianqian spat out a mouthful of blood. At this moment, Su Liang's eyes turned red. Beast! I want your life. Su Liang raised his dagger and stabbed the bloodthirsty rat's heart crazily. At this moment, the bloodthirsty rat also opened its bloody mouth and bit him on the shoulder. Puff! The dagger stabbed into the heart of the bloodthirsty rat, and was stirred a few times by Su Liang. The extreme pain drove the bloodthirsty rat crazy. It bit Su Liang's shoulder and raised it high, trying to throw Su Liang to death. But his heart was broken and he was unable to continue. After shaking for a few times, the bloodthirsty rat bit Su Liang's body and fell to the ground together. The scarlet eyes slowly lost their ferocious luster. The body of the bloodthirsty rat twitched a few times on the ground and gradually lost its voice. Lu Xian looked at the mess. He ran towards Bai Qianqian like crazy. Qianqian. Lu Xian helped Bai Qianqian up. Blood flowed from the corner of Bai Qianqian's mouth, and she looked in the direction of Su Liang with a depressed expression. Su Liang. Lu Xian choked and cried. Bai Qianqian struggled to get up and walked towards Su Liang. Su Liang was lying on the ground, his shoulder was pierced by the fangs of the bloodthirsty rat, and the heartbreaking pain made him feel like he was going to faint. But he couldn't. He knew that there were still bloodthirsty rats. The smell of blood would attract other bloodthirsty rats. He struggled to open the fangs of the bloodthirsty rat with his other hand. The sound of teeth being pulled out from the flesh and blood of his shoulders was clear. He gritted his teeth and ignored the blood flowing from his shoulders. Struggling to stand up. The blood had already soaked the clothes on his upper body. He pulled out his dagger and staggered towards Bai Qianqian step by step. Bai Qianqian cried. Su Liang. Su Liang breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Bai Qianqian was fine. He stretched out his hand to touch her cheek, to comfort her, but his hand froze, as if he hadn't reached this point and shouldn't push it too far. Bai Qianqian also noticed this scene, her whole body felt like she was electrocuted, and she grabbed Su Liang's hand. Su Liang smiled bitterly, "Are you okay?" Bai Qianqian's eyes were wet with tears, and she shook her head desperately, "I'm fine." Su Liang's face turned pale, "Let's go quickly." Lu Xian supported Su Liang and Bai Qianqian and was about to leave. Gong Lai, in black robe, suddenly appeared and saw the bloodthirsty rat lying on the ground. Looking at Su Liang and the three of them again, they were shocked. Dead? They were okay. Xiaolan, inform Luin to come to my place. Civilians are injured and 2 bloodthirsty rats have been killed. Hearing this, Su Liang turned around with difficulty and glanced at Gong Lai, who was dressed in black robes. He felt relieved. Then his vision went dark and he fainted. Su Liang. Xiao Liang. Chapter 6: A Pair of Golden Eyes. Bai Qianqian's home. Su Liang was lying on the bed, his face pale. Sitting beside the bed was a young woman wearing a black robe, her hands glowing with crystal green light. On each of the 2 arms, there is a leaf mark that emits green light, and there is another one between the eyebrows. This means that this woman is a master of 3 divine seals. Bai Qianqian sat next to him, a little weak, but his eyes never left Su Liang from beginning to end. There is tenderness and worry in her beautiful eyes. If Su Liang hadn't been there tonight, she really didn't know what kind of desperate end she and her mother would have had. Su Liang risked his life for her. She felt that she owed Su Liang too much. Without Su Liang, she would die tonight. Finally, the woman in black robe put away the divine seal, and the green light disappeared. There were beads of sweat on her forehead, and she took a deep breath. Okay, there's no big problem for the time being. No vital parts have been hurt. After a little rest, you can regain your strength. Looking at the scabbed wound on Su Liang's shoulder, the big stone in Bai Qianqian's heart finally fell to the ground. Thank you. Thank you. The woman shook her head. You're welcome, it was our negligence that allowed 2 bloodthirsty rats to escape. With a hint of apology in Lu Yin's eyes, she looked at the body covered with a piece of cloth at the door. Lu Xian was sitting slumped next to the corpse. The corpse is none other than Bai Huajing. Bai Huajing died like this. Bai Qianqian also took a look, but she felt indescribably bitter. This man who only knew how to beat their mother and daughter died like this. Everything was too unexpected. But Bai Qianqian didn't seem too sad. After all, she had never received love from this man. From the time she was sensible, this man only drank, gambled and beat her mother. Bai Qianqian withdrew her gaze and looked at Su Liang on the bed. This face was gradually imprinted into the depths of her mind, and she could never forget it. Soon, Gong Lai came back. Lu Yin, what's wrong with this kid? Lu Yin said, the injury has been stabilized, just wait for him to recover slowly. Lu Yin asked curiously, did this guy really kill that bloodthirsty rat? Gong Lai looked at Bai Qianqian, it should be. Bai Qianqian's eyes were moist and she said, he killed me. Lu Yin couldn't believe it. Said, are you still students of Shenjue Middle School? Bai Qianqian nodded, we are from Shenjue No. 2 Middle School. Lu Yin took a deep breath. A high school student, who has not yet awakened to consciousness, actually killed a 1-star bloodthirsty rat. Who dares to believe this? Gong Lai said, it's a good seedling. If you can awaken the divine seal, you can consider inducting it into our team if you have the opportunity in the future. Lu Yin nodded. Little girl, what happened today was our dereliction of duty. Your father. Bai Qianqian shook her head, it's his own life. A person who only knows how to drink can't even resist. I don't blame you. Hearing this, Gong Lai and Lu Yin were both slightly startled. It seems that the family situation is somewhat special. Gong Lai sighed and took out a blood-colored crystal the size of an egg. This is the beast crystal that this kid used to kill the bloodthirsty rat. It's his trophy. When he wakes up, please help deliver it to him. Bai Qianqian took it and said nothing. Gong Lai and Lu Yin turned around and left the house. He saw Lu Xian, who was still sitting on the ground crying and confused. Gong Lai said, we have notified the crematorium for you. They will come over tomorrow morning to help take your husband away. Please forgive me. Lu Xian didn't reply, her eyes were empty. The man who tortured her for more than 10 years was finally dead. No matter how he treated her before, she was still sad at this moment. But there is no way. In today's society, this kind of thing is not uncommon. Keep everything simple. It seems like everyone is used to it. Gong Lai and Lu Yin didn't say anything more and left quickly to join the team. The room fell into dead silence, and Bai Qianqian was also in a daze, just holding the beast crystal tightly. Su Liang on the bed. It's like being in a dream. Su Liang opened his eyes with difficulty, and felt a sense of weakness. Drowsily, he saw in front of him a pair of golden eyes with a radius of 5 meters, staring at him. This is not the human eye. This is the eye of the beast. Su Liang even felt a little familiar, but he couldn't remember it for a while. After he sobered up a little, he looked carefully. It's the eyes of the beast. What terrifying beast eyes! Where are you? Why do you see such a thing? It's like the eyes of an 8-9-star alien beast. Those eyes are as vast as the abyss, just for a glance. It made Su Liang feel like he was going to be crushed. The golden light shone on his illusory body, which was very painful. He just felt like his body was about to be torn apart, which made him scream in agony. What the hell is this? This pain seemed to evaporate him. He hissed in pain. In an instant, he suddenly sat up from the bed. This painful scream also scared Bai Qianqian. Su Liang, are you okay? Su Liang looked around in horror, with a lot of cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. Bai Qianqian grabbed Su Liang's hand in panic. Su Liang, I'm here, are you having a nightmare? Su Liang glanced at Bai Qianqian and took a few deep breaths. What were those eyes just now? He had a familiar feeling, but he just couldn't remember where he had seen it. Soon, the pain in his body made Su Liang wake up a little. It must be a dream. It's okay, I'm okay, I just had a nightmare. Bai Qian breathed a sigh of relief. Don't be afraid, the bloodthirsty rat matter has been dealt with. Su Liang glanced at Bai Qianqian and saw her serious worries. Then Su Liang watched his hand being held by Bai Qianqian. Holy shit, the future empress is holding my hand. Bai Qianqian noticed something unusual and quickly let go of Su Liang's hand, her cheeks a little red with embarrassment. You, don't misunderstand. The corner of Su Liang's mouth curled up a little, which left some traces in Bai Qianqian's heart. It can be considered a blessing in disguise. Su Liang coughed twice. Who healed my injury? Bai Qianqian quickly explained the whole story. Only then did Su Liang understand that at that time, a certain team from the military headquarters should have arrived. Their healing master helped stabilize his injury, and he did not need to continue treatment. He only needed to recuperate. Su Liang looked at Lu Xian, who was still sitting next to Bai Huajing's body outside the house, and sighed softly. This should be the accident that happened to Bai Qianqian in her previous life. In her previous life, those lying there should be her parents. This time, because of his appearance, her mother was saved. I should go back, otherwise my grandpa will be worried. Bai Qianqian said worriedly, your injury? Su Liang shook his head, it's okay, it's not a big problem. Bai Qianqian helped Su Liang stand up. Su Liang took a look at their house. The bloodthirsty rats had just damaged a lot of it. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it was a mess. It will cost you a lot of money to repair your house. You might as well move over and live with us. You can consider it. Bai Qianqian was stunned for a moment, but didn't say anything more. Su Liang said hello to Lu Xian, but she didn't wake up. Su Liang could only leave first. This is the beast crystal you used to kill the bloodthirsty rat. Keep it and be careful on the road. Bai Qianqian's concern for Su Liang can only stop here. You can keep it, you can exchange it for money. Bai Qianqian firmly refused, no, I have caused you so much trouble today, this is your trophy, I absolutely can't take it. Bai Qianqian stuffed it directly into Su Liang's hand. Su Liang smiled bitterly and could only nod and leave. Grandpa should be worried. Looking at Su Liang's leaving figure, Bai Qianqian felt an indescribable feeling. Why is he helping her like this? He is hated by many people in the class, why is he like this? A touch of tenderness flashed across Bai Qianqian's eyes, and she could only hide that thought deep in her heart. Chapter 7 Beast Energy Transformation. When I got home, my grandfather had been waiting. He was stooped and had a hint of anxiety in his pupils. He was relieved when he saw Su Liang coming back. Su Liang also saw his grandfather who had passed away in his previous life, and felt an indescribable feeling in his heart. I never thought I would have the chance to see my grandpa again. Grandpa is always stooped and likes to have a straight face. But in fact, he is a little old man with a cold face and a warm heart. He takes care of his house in order. Seeing that Su Liang's body was covered in blood, he quickly asked, what's going on? I didn't even answer the phone. Su Liang didn't want him to worry, it's okay. I bumped into a strange beast and was slightly injured. The therapist from the military department helped me heal the injury. Hurry home after school. Are you worried about me? Grandpa scolded. Su Liang smiled bitterly, it won't happen next time. Grandpa, you should go to bed early. It's too late. Grandpa remained silent and just served dinner. Eat and go to bed immediately. Su Liang's head felt slightly warm. Although his grandfather was a little stricter, he still loved him a lot. Grandpa's hair was gray, and a trace of worry flashed through his cloudy old eyes. Be careful in the future and go home early. Even if something happens, you must report that you are safe. Su Liang smiled. I know, Grandpa, I will pay attention. Grandpa got up and went back to his room. After Su Liang finished eating, he simply washed up. Lying on his bed, he checked the wound. Fortunately, the other party used some thought to treat it. Just a little bit of wound healing left. He lay on the bed, thinking about what he had experienced today. In this way, it can be regarded as a closer relationship with Bai Qianqian, and I hope that I can hug the future empress tightly in the future. I just hope she won't alienate him after awakening the SSS-level divine seal. Su Liang sighed lightly and decided to wait for his fate. When her status becomes higher and higher in the future, will she really still remember him? Unfortunately, he can only awaken the B-level divine seal, so his future is limited. He took out the beast crystal. This beast crystal can also be exchanged for some money. The higher the level of the beast crystal, the more valuable it is. This is also an important resource. It can also be used to exchange for divine crystals. The divine crystal is used to evolve the divine seal. It can be said to be the source of power for the chosen ones and a vital strategic resource. Divine crystals can only be mined from the earth. Beast crystal cannot be used directly to strengthen the divine seal. It must undergo special processing before it can be converted into usable energy. Such a one-star beast crystal has limited value. Su Liang held the beast crystal and thought about the future battle of the Emperor's fall. The main problem is to tell Bai Qianqian in the future that there is a problem with that Shenzong, and she just needs to guard against that guy and not be attacked by him. Then Bai Qianqian would not be injured, and would not have to die with the 10-star alien beasts. A trace of anger flashed in Su Liang's eyes. Damn it, that beast has the nerve to say he is a hero of China? This guy, during a mission, led his team to fight against alien beasts, and all his teammates died. He was the only one left to return and brought back the mission target. He was touted by China, became a fighting hero among everyone, and was named a marshal. But I didn't expect that this beast would attack the Suzaku Empress at that time. This life must be stopped. The only thing Su Liang couldn't figure out was why he, a dignified Zhouyin Shenzong and the marshal of the Chinese military, rebelled? What the hell is going on? He couldn't figure it out. In the 300 years since the heaven and earth changed, there have been very few traitors. All humans are at odds with those alien beasts, but that guy rebelled. Unfortunately, his status in his previous life was limited and he didn't know many secrets of this world. Feeling tired, Su Liang fell into a deep sleep. In the dark night, the beast crystal held in his hand began to emit a faint light. The pure energy in the beast crystal poured into Su Liang's body along his arm, until the beast crystal turned into a ball of powder. In a dream, Su Liang suddenly opened his eyes. Your uncle. Why are you here again? Su Liang cursed. In front of him, those golden beast eyes appeared again. With only one pair of eyes, he couldn't see the beast's face, so he didn't know what kind of strange beast it was. Golden light shot out from these golden eyes, shining on Su Liang's body. The burning pain caused him to have a nervous breakdown. He struggled painfully and wanted to get out of this state. But he couldn't do it no matter what. I can only endure this pain and suffering. What the hell is going on? Su Liang roared. In his previous life, absolutely nothing like this happened. Every moment now, he felt as if his whole body was being bitten by ants. At this moment, a holographic projection panel suddenly appeared in front of his eyes, and a cold voice sounded in his ears. Beast energy transformation. Beast energy is being transformed. Conversion progress 1/1000000. Beast talent, Eye of Insight 0+1. Divine Seal unawakened. Spirit 10+1. Strength 10+1. Agility 10+1. Speed 10+1. Su Liang looked at the panel that appeared in front of him in shock. What's this? Can beasts be transformed? What beast can be transformed? Su Liang endured the pain and looked into those eyes. the power to transform these beast eyes? These eyes are the so-called eyes of insight. Going through this process, is the ability and power of these eyes transformed into your own body? Su Liang was puzzled and did not understand what happened to him. The next moment, the golden light flourished. A ray of light shot out of those eyes and hit the center of his chest. A painful burning sensation came over me. But it quickly disappeared. Not waiting for Su Liang to check. The golden light was in a trance for a while. He was kicked out of this state. He suddenly opened his eyes and sat up from the bed, breathing heavily. Another dream? It's already dawn. But suddenly, he realized something was wrong. His eyes could actually see extremely fine dust in the air. And I also saw the lines on the mosquito's body, and even saw the process of the mosquito's wings vibrating. It seems that in his eyes, everything has slowed down. He turned to look out the window, his eyes condensed. For a moment, the sight of my eyes stretched as far as I could, as if I was seeing something a kilometer or two away. His eyesight has become stronger. This is very significant. Those eyes at night are not a dream. His physical fitness has improved. He grabbed his collar, but a handful of dust almost blinded him. He frowned. Why was he holding a handful of dust in his hand? Suddenly, he was startled. Is this the beast crystal? An incredible thought flashed through his mind. I absorbed the beast crystal. Su Liang was shocked and thought clearly. In other words, it was the eyes in his dream that absorbed the beast crystal. Or maybe it was the so-called beast energy transformation that transformed the power of the beast crystal. Su Liang was a little confused. Quickly peel off your clothes. I saw a tattoo-like mark on my chest. It was a beast form. The moment he saw the beast form, Su Liang's eyes widened. Red-eyed celestial beast. The 10-star alien beast that died together with Bai Qianqian. Those golden eyes belong to the red-eyed Tianlin. Chapter 8 Bai Qianqian, I'm covered. For a long time, Su Liang didn't react from the shock. In other words, he died in his previous life, and due to some kind of coincidence, part of the power of Qi Tong Tianlin appeared in his body and traveled back in time with him. Then this inexplicable ability to transform animal energy appeared in his body, which can also be understood as a kind of device. He can transform the beast energy of the red-eyed Tianlin bit by bit into the value of his own body. He also received a natural ability called the Eye of Insight. And if you want to transform beast energy, do you need other beast crystals to drive the ability to transform beast energy? After thinking about it, it seems that this is the explanation. On second thought, this is a good thing. Doesn't this mean indirectly improving one's talent? It would be absolutely unimaginable if all of his attributes and abilities were greatly improved. Perhaps he would not stop being the three-seal divine master in this life. Su Liang was so happy that he jumped up and down on the bed. Maybe this life will really be different. After calming down for a while, he checked his injuries. Raising your eyebrows slightly, why does it seem like the wounds have healed a lot? We're out to eat. Do you still want to go to school? Grandpa's voice came from outside the room. Su Liangshi smiled broadly, got dressed, washed up, and had breakfast with his grandfather. In this era, food has become very simple, and many people eat compressed food. A lot of it is dry stuff. A piece of compressed biscuit contains all kinds of energy. That is, Grandpa, who got some seeds from somewhere, planted some fruits and vegetables that only rich people in this era could afford. After school, go home early and don't hang around outside. It's not peaceful recently. Grandpa Su Luochen warned. Su Liang smiled and nodded. Grandpa, I understand, I will be back early today. After you awaken the divine seal, you will be able to protect yourself a little bit. Before you awaken, please be more honest with me. Su Liang grinned. Grandpa, how do you know that I can awaken the divine seal? What if I don't awaken? Su Luochen glanced at him. If you haven't awakened yet, then you should continue to be honest. Su Liang. Grandpa, you eat slowly, I'm going to school first. Su Liang put down his bowls and chopsticks and disappeared in a flash. Su Luochen looked at his grandson leaving and put down his bowls and chopsticks. There was a depth in his eyes. He murmured, "Would rather you not awaken the divine seal. This world is not as simple as you think." On the way, Su Liang hesitated and still didn't go to Bai Qianqian's house. Now they are probably busy cremating her dad. I shouldn't go to school today. In today's chaotic era of sharp population decline, every child who has not experienced divine enlightenment is a treasure of the country and must be strictly controlled. They all have to go to school. Once someone disappears, all aspects of investigation and reporting are required. But things are different after divine awakening. There are no people who have awakened the divine seal. Either pass the college entrance examination and go to university, or go home and learn a technology or something. Therefore, divine awakening is also the biggest life transition in this era. Whether you can awaken the divine seal depends entirely on fate, and there is no reason to say. Just walked into the classroom. Su Liang saw Bai Qianqian sitting in the corner with her head down reading a book. She looked inconspicuous in a shabby school uniform that had been washed white. Su Liang was shocked. Why did she come to school? Su Liang's appearance attracted the attention of the students. Su Liang didn't notice the gazes of those classmates. He also directly ignored Zhang Tianhao's hostile gaze. Under everyone's gaze, he passed directly by Lang Lianshuang and Zhang Tianhao sitting in the third row. He went straight to the corner where Bai Qianqian was sitting. Suddenly, some people cheered in the classroom. Ha ha ha. We won. Come on, come on. Give me money. Give me money. Some students showed expressions of pain and actually lost. This guy Su Liang actually ignored Lang Lianshuang. Su Liang felt inexplicable that this feeling was a bet on him. Lang Lianshuang, who was in the third row, clenched her fists slightly. This guy actually ignored her. Zhang Tianhao showed a sneer, thinking that his warning yesterday was effective. It's good to have one less opponent. Then let this guy have fun for a while first, take fighting class in the afternoon, and then find a place. Su Liang ignored those people and walked straight to Bai Qianqian and sat down. Bai Qianqian was slightly shocked. Why did he come here? Why did you come to school? Don't you want to deal with things at home? Su Liang's gentle voice sounded. Bai Qianqian looked up at him in a panic. No. It's been taken care of. Su Liang frowned. You can also take a day off, just ask for leave. Bai Qianqian lowered her head and rubbed her fingers under the desk. I thought you wouldn't come, so I wanted to help you ask for leave. Su Liang's heart suddenly softened. My old heart is about to be melted. This future empress turns out to be so cute. Su Liang smiled. Thank you very much. Bai Qianqian shook her head. No. Your injuries. Su Liang smiled and shook his head. I'm fine now, I've basically recovered. Bai Qianqian nodded. At this time, the needle drop could be heard in the classroom. Everyone's eyes widened. They all looked towards the corner. Su Liang frowned and raised his head. Found that most people were looking at him. What are you doing? What's there to see? Su Liang raised his eyebrows slightly. The students reacted and showed half-smiling expressions. Especially the boys. Oh, Su Liang, tell me honestly, what happened to Bai Qianqian? Is it because the school beauty rejected you yesterday that you fell in love with someone else? Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm targeting Bai Qianqian. Su Liang, your taste is not very good. Why do you like the ugly duckling? If you continue like this, our college beauty will ignore you, ha ha ha. Hearing these words, Bai Qianqian lowered her head in inferiority. She was used to being laughed at by everyone. After all, how could she, a skinny, sallow ugly duckling, be worthy of Su Liang? In the past, almost no one in the class was friends with Bai Qianqian. She was taciturn and her family's conditions were poor, making her extremely transparent. Regardless of other achievements or fighting skills, they are not very outstanding, and they are basically excluded and ignored. But now, Su Liang and Bai Qianqian are so close and care about each other, then there must be something wrong. Leng Lianshuang, who was sitting in the third row, had an indifferent look on her face, but her fist had been clenched unconsciously. Humph. You like someone else, right? I, Leng Lianshuang, will warm my face against my cold butt. Bai Qianqian lowered her head, even feeling a little ashamed that she had influenced Su Liang by saying a few words to Su Liang. She lowered her head and didn't want to say a word. This is her, an ugly duckling who is not taken seriously or cared about wherever she goes. Bai Qianqian will also feel aggrieved. How about keeping some distance from Su Liang and not affecting him? And just then, Su Liang's cold voice sounded. Shut up, everyone. What's wrong with Bai Qianqian? Why is he the ugly duckling? Whether I like her or not, it's none of your business. Do you think belittling me will make Leng Lianshuang look at you more? We are all classmates, won't your conscience hurt when you say these words? In addition to bullying her, what else do you do? Su Liang's sudden cruelty shocked everyone in the class. They all looked at Su Liang in disbelief. Bai Qianqian was also suddenly startled, and raised her head to look at Su Liang with a cold face. Su Liang, what do you mean? A young man stood up directly with a sullen expression. Su Liang instantly locked his eyes on the young man's face. What do I mean? Do you think teasing and bullying Bai Qianqian will make you look noble? Lu Hao, you often ask Bai Qianqian to run errands for you, right? Lu Hao, who stood up, was silenced by Su Liang's words. Lu Hao's face turned green and red. Su Liang then looked in another direction. Ma Jiaran, tell me yourself, how much homework did you ask Bai Qianqian to do for you? Another young man lowered his head in embarrassment. Li Yan, Gu Lanqi, Han Xiao, how many times did you ask Bai Qianqian to run for you? How many times did you make meals for you? A group of girls were also extremely embarrassed. Su Liang was unreasonable and unforgiving. Have all of your consciences been eaten by dogs? Ugly duckling? Don't you have any idea what you look like? The students who were named were all very angry. Zhang Tianhao saw that Su Liang was outraged because of Bai Qianqian. He sneered and stood up directly. Su Liang. What do you mean? Isn't that just the mutual help between classmates? Why does it change the taste in your mouth? Are you just looking for trouble? Zhang Tianhao's words immediately made the students who were named become more energetic. Yes. Su Liang, don't slander me here. It's all Bai Qianqian's choice. It's just about helping each other. Hearing this, Su Liang sneered sarcastically. Help each other? Do you deserve it too? What have you helped her with? Apart from bullying and ridiculing her, when have you ever helped her? Can you please give her a little face? Zhang Tianhao, I'm not talking about you because I want to save some face for you. You are the squad leader and you take the lead in bullying your classmates. How many things have you done to Bai Qianqian to handle it for you? When it was your turn to clean, you asked Bai Qianqian to do it. How many times have you cleaned? Are you worthy of being the squad leader? Su Liang fought with these people and did not fall behind in the slightest. Those students who were not named were already wide-eyed and dumbfounded. What happened to Su Liang today? Taking the wrong medicine? Are you going to fight with so many classmates for one Bai Qianqian? Su Liang. Zhang Tianhao shouted angrily. Scream. What's the shout? You're the only one with a loud voice. Your throat was opened by a flying stick. Zhang Tianhao was shocked and angry. You. Let me tell you, from today on, if anyone dares to bully Bai Qianqian again, I will never end it with him. Bai Qianqian, I'm covered. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang dreamingly, her eyes were red and her eyes were twinkling. Is this what it feels like to be protected? Chapter 9 I Don't Deserve Her. It became audible to drop pins in the classroom. His best friend who was sitting next to him gave him a thumbs up. And those people named by Su Liang didn't know how to reply for a while. Zhang Tianhao's face was extremely gloomy. Leng Lianshuang, who was sitting in the third row, couldn't help but look back at Su Liang. There is a feeling of admiration. Su Liang seems to be really different today. It is very just to stand up for your classmates. But is it a good thing for one person to anger so many people? Lang Lianshuang just glanced at it and then turned around. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang, and she seemed to hear the beating of her own heart. Never, no one had ever treated her like this. Her eyes were filled with tears. I want to imprint Su Liang's face in my mind. He was really nice to her. After Zhang Tianhao reacted, he sneered, "That's not a small tone. Do you really think you're worth 2,580,000 yuan? You're a fighting B-level trash. What kind of cover do you use? Use your turtle shell cover. In the afternoon fighting class, I want to see if your strength is as tough as your mouth." After hearing this, the students who were named regained a little momentum. Everyone showed a sneer. Want to be a hero? You also need to have the strength. Bai Qianqian quietly pulled Su Liang's trouser leg to signal him not to continue. But Bai Qianqian also knew that Su Liang's fighting ability was very high, but she didn't want him to fall out with all his classmates because of her. Su Liang didn't care. He looked at them and sneered, "If I beat you with both hands, I will lose." Hearing this, everyone felt that Su Liang was crazy. Those who were named laughed sarcastically. He must be out of his mind. I don't know what it means. Zhang Tianhao sneered, "In the afternoon fighting class, I want to see how you beat us." The school bell rang and the teacher came. Su Liang also took back his thoughts. He looked at Bai Qianqian. "Don't be afraid, no one can bully you in the future." After saying this, Su Liang returned to his seat first. And Bai Qianqian's smart eyes couldn't calm down for a long time. She lowered her head and shed a tear. But she was really happy. The scarred heart was being stitched up bit by bit. Returning to his seat, the math teacher began to teach. In today's era, they still have to study natural subjects such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, etc. Without awakening the divine seal, he went to college and became the cornerstone of the country's academic field. The world is changing, and technology still needs to develop. These are all indispensable. That is to say, nuclear weapons have been abandoned, but nuclear energy still exists. 300 years ago, humans tried to use nuclear weapons to destroy these alien beasts, but they found that nuclear energy could only destroy some low-level alien beasts. Those advanced alien beasts will absorb the energy of nuclear weapon explosions and evolve. In this way, the nuclear weapon lost its original power, not only destroying their homeland, but also helping the alien beasts evolve. Therefore, nuclear weapons were stopped and we could only study nuclear energy. Su Liang was in no mood to hear this. He won't go down this path. He was lying on the table. Yang Biao, the best friend next to him, came over. "Give him a thumbs up," he said softly. "Awesome. Brother Liang. I confessed my love last night. If my confession failed, I would F*** K Zhang Tianhao. Today I have scolded so many people. What are you going to do?" Su Liang glanced at Yang Biao. In his last life, he saw Yang Biao fall in front of him in order to save him. "I can't help but feel a little wet in my eyes. In this life, I must rewrite their history. Concentrate your thoughts." He smiled and said, "Why don't you do anything? I just can't stand these things." Yang Biao hesitated and said, "What should we do in the afternoon? Zhang Tianhao will definitely do it to you. With me included, we may not be his opponents. How did you defeat Zhang Tianhao yesterday? Can you do it again today?" Yang Biao was a little worried. Su Liang smiled, "Are you afraid of a bird? Just F*** him and make the shit out of him." Disgusting, I'm afraid my little flying stick will be dirty." Yang Biao showed a disgusted look. Su Liang laughed and cursed, then punched him on the waist. Yang Biao said, "Damn it, we will do it together when the time comes." "Are you still afraid of him?" Yang Biao's fighting level is only B+, which is not high. But will Su Liang be afraid now? Yang Biao came over cautiously and asked, "What do you think of Lang Lianshuang?" You're not really going to like Bai Qianqian anymore, are you? Su Liang curled his lips and thought to himself, even if he likes Bai Qianqian, when she wakes up, she may not like him who only has a B-level divine seal, right? Maybe I will only remember my current kindness and be friends in the future. Su Liang said, Leng Lianshuang should forget it. I have no idea. She won't like me. Su Liang will naturally not like this woman anymore. Once she wakes up, she will definitely distance herself from him. This is not a good woman at all. Yang Biao nodded, I have advised you to give up a long time ago. Look at her arrogance. She relies on her good looks and no one pays attention to her. What about Bai Qianqian? Su Liang was silent for a moment, I'm not worthy of her. Yang Biao's eyes widened, was he not worthy of the ugly duckling Bai Qianqian? Bah! Brothers have said that we can't call her a clown duck. Yang Biao asked later, but Su Liang didn't want to explain. Su Liang didn't listen to the class later, but looked in Bai Qianqian's direction from time to time. She listens to the class very seriously. But his eyes would always wander, as if he couldn't settle down. A class passes quickly. The bell rang for the end of get out of class. Biaozi, I'm sorry. In the last few days, you can sit alone. I'll sit with Bai Qianqian. Yang Biao glared, your uncle, are you serious? Su Liang smiled, what else? Su Liang packed up his things and walked towards Bai Qianqian. He walked to her naturally. He smiled and said, Bai Qianqian, can you sit inside? I want to sit here with you. Bai Qianqian was stunned for a moment and looked at Su Liang in disbelief. Is he going to move over and sit with her? What's wrong with him? Could it be that he really came to seduce her to gain confidence because he was rejected by Leng Lianshuang? Other students also noticed this scene. Some students frowned. Could it be that Su Liang really fell in love with Bai Qianqian? There were also those classmates who had just had a conflict with sarcastic smiles on their faces. Someone said sarcastically, some people, if they are not favored by the school bell, go to some transparent people to practice and gain confidence. It is really ridiculous. This sentence caused a burst of ridicule from those classmates. Zhang Tianhao also had a sneer on his face. Leng Lianshuang frowned slightly, feeling an indescribable feeling. How could a person who had liked a beautiful woman like her for several years in college suddenly lower his taste and like such an ugly duckling with no breasts? This felt to her like it was an insult to her to be liked by Su Liang. At the same time, Leng Lianshuang felt a little angry. This guy would rather find such an ugly duckling than continue to lick her. What's going on? Su Liangkai ignored the cynicism of those people. Anyway, he only wanted to waste a week here. Next week is Shinjue, and I have to say goodbye to many people. Su Liang showed a gentle smile. What's wrong? You don't want me to sit here? Bai Qianqian finally reacted. Without. Bai Qianqian's earlobes were crimson, and she didn't dare to look at Su Liang. She couldn't understand what Su Liang was thinking. But he still got up and moved his textbooks and other things to the window. Bai Qianqian always sits alone and has no tablemates. Su Liang's sudden appearance gave her a lot of strange feelings. Su Liang just smiled and sat next to Bai Qianqian naturally. Bai Qianqian lowered her head shyly. Some sharp-eyed classmates noticed Bai Qianqian's shyness. These two people, are they really going to get together? The second class begins. Bai Qianqian was completely uninterested in listening to the lecture. Although she didn't go to see Su Liang, she would always think of him in her heart. They are so close. It made her a little flustered. She didn't know why Su Liang was close to her. Even if they were just asking her to practice as they said, she would be willing. Maybe this is God's gift to her at this time. Without the Su Liang of yesterday, there would be no Bai Qianqian of today. If he wants to lie, I will let him lie. I am willing to do so. Not long after, Su Liang pushed a note over. Bai Qianqian thought with her heart pounding. What's this? It's not like that kind of love letter. So fast? Either early death or late death is death. Bai Qianqian took the note. Open it and take a look. Listen carefully to the lecture and don't think too much. Instantly, Bai Qianqian's cheeks turned red with embarrassment. But Su Liang had already fallen asleep on the table. Chapter 10 Because I want you to protect me in the future. Principal's office. The principal was a thin, middle-aged man, with an obvious aura of wealth and nobility in him. He was dressed in formal attire and was shaking hands with the two men in front of him with a smile on his face. Unexpectedly, their famous team of chosen ones from Chengdu would come to their school. The principal said cheerfully, "What brought you two masters here?" The two people opposite looked relatively young, in their 30s. One of them is Gong Lai, who met Su Liang and the others last night. The other man was unsmiling and looked very serious. He said, "Principal Liu, we are here this time to check a student's file." Principal Liu was pleasantly surprised when he heard this. "Oh? Captain Qi, are you attracted to that little genius from our school?" Gong Lai's expression remained as usual. Qi Hengqiu said calmly, "We don't know his name, only his appearance." Principal Liu said with a smile, "The students that you, Captain Qi, are interested in must be the few kids in our school who have S-level fighting skills. Come on, I have their information on my computer. Can you guys take a look which one it is?" The principal smiled while checking the information and asked, "Captain Qi, what happened?" Qi Hengqiu glanced at Gong Lai. Gong Lai smiled and explained, "Principal Liu, it's like this. Last night, there was an invasion of alien beasts in the civilian area. 2 one-star bloodthirsty rats escaped from the Forbidden God realm, caused some trouble, and 1 person died. They are parents of students in your school." Principal Liu frowned. "It seems that the few students in our school who are in the S-level combat level live in civilian areas." Gong Lai quickly explained, "It's not her, it's another one. One of the one-star bloodthirsty rats was killed by another student." Hearing this, the principal looked shocked. "What? Student kills a one-star bloodthirsty rat?" The principal murmured in disbelief, "Even if you are S-level, you can't do it, right?" Gong Lai smiled and said, "That's why we came. We want to check the student's information and see his background. If possible, we want to mark him temporarily. If he has not awakened the divine seal, we want to send him for training. With the help of Yuanjing technology, he will be an outstanding warrior and will have the opportunity to become our team member in the future. If he is successfully awakened, we also want to recruit him into the team after he graduates from the chosen academy. It's a preparation in advance." Principal Liu was pleasantly surprised, "That's really great. I really didn't expect that our school would produce such a fighting genius. Come, take a look and see which one it is." Gong Lai leaned over and took a look. "There are only a few S-class ones in total." He shook his head, "None of them." Principal Liu's face froze, "No?" Gong Lai nodded. Captain Qi Hengqiu frowned, "I didn't even ask for my name yesterday." Gong Lai was a little embarrassed. Principal Liu frowned, "It's impossible. If it's our students, then the ones who can do this must be these S-level students. How could it be someone else?" Gong Lai thought for a moment. "Oh. I remembered, his name seems to be Su Liang." Gong Lai remembered that Bai Qianqian called him when he fainted. The principal searched for this name in the archives. Sure enough, Su Liang's file popped up. Gong Lai was a little excited. "Yes. That's him." The principal looked in disbelief, "He? But he is A.B." The principal couldn't believe it. He smiled awkwardly, "It can't be a mistake, right? His fighting grade is not even A." Gong Lai smiled and shook his head, "It can't be wrong, it's him." Gong Lai and the others later went back and checked the surveillance video of that location. The fighting consciousness displayed by Su Liang made Captain Qi Hengqiu somewhat interested and wanted to recruit him into their team. "That's why I came here." The principal looked like he had seen a ghost. "A B-class kills a bloodthirsty rat?" The two ignored him, but carefully checked Su Liang's information. Captain Qi Hengqiu raised the corners of his mouth slightly and came to a conclusion. "Hide your edge and sharpen your sharpness." Gong Li smiled and said, Captain, I rarely hear you praise someone. None of us seem to have been praised by you. Chi Hengchu glanced at him indifferently. You are all like soaring cannons. You are afraid that others will not know your strength. Why are you praising you? Do you want to go to the sky? Gong Li smiled awkwardly. Principal Lu asked in surprise, Captain Chi, do you mean that he has hidden his true strength? Chi Hengchu nodded. He was even more satisfied with Su Liang. At a young age, he is not burdened by false fame and has a good mind. Principal Lu, please help me pay more attention to this little guy. We will come back when the day comes. Principal Lu was surprised, but still nodded. I understand, Captain Chi. If he can be appreciated by your team, he already has a bright future. Chi Hengchu nodded and prepared to say goodbye. Principal Lu said with a smile, Captain Chi, why don't you stay? Their class's combat training will be in the afternoon. I'm feeling itchy after what you said. Can we watch it together in the afternoon? Chi Hengchu thought for a moment and nodded, okay, then we'll come back in the afternoon. Hey, let's have a casual meal together. Chi Hengchu shook his head, we still have some things to deal with, thank you for your kindness. Principal Lu nodded helplessly, okay, then I can't force you to stay. I'll wait for the two masters to come in the afternoon. Chi Hengchu and the other two nodded politely. After leaving school. Let's take a look at the situation this afternoon. Find an opportunity to get in touch with him, see his character, and test his thoughts. Chi Hengchu said to Gong Li. Gong Li nodded, okay. During the morning classes, Su Liang basically slept. After class, most of the students were going to have lunch and prepare for the afternoon fighting class. Yang Biao called Su Liang, but Su Liang looked at Bai Qianqian. Yang Biao rolled his eyes, you are a B*****ch who values S**x over friends. Su Liang looked at Bai Qianqian, aren't you going to eat? Bai Qianqian was a little shy. I brought a compressed lunch. Su Liang frowned, it's not good to eat this all the time. Look how thin you are now. Walk. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang's unquestionable look and didn't know what to choose for a moment. But she really didn't have money to eat those things. I can eat these, okay. Su Liang raised his eyebrows. Okay, if you don't go, I won't eat either. I'll just starve to death. Su Liang sat down on the stool. Bai Qianqian looked at him in astonishment, could it still be like this? Bai Qianqian said anxiously, no, your injury is just right, and there is a fighting class in the afternoon. They will cause trouble for you then, and you must go and eat something. The corners of Su Liang's mouth curled up a little. Worried about me? Then go to dinner with me. If you don't go, I won't go. Bai Qianqian was a little panicked. What happened to Su Liang? Good. I'll eat with you, but I can just eat this. While speaking, Bai Qianqian raised the compressed biscuit in her hand. Su Liang really couldn't do anything to her. Let's go. When you go to the cafeteria, it's up to you whether you want to eat or not. Su Liang walked in front, and Bai Qianqian timidly followed him. Looking at his back, she felt inexplicably at ease. Just after they left, Leng Lianshuang, who was still in his seat, raised his head. Look at their backs. The pen in Leng Lianshuang's hand was crushed by her. An indescribable emotion came to mind. Among her many suitors, Su Liang is the first-rate in terms of appearance and the most enthusiastic. But now, this enthusiasm has been given to others by him. Still such an ugly duckling. This feeling made her very uncomfortable. Her face was cold, which made people addicted. But at this time, her mood was disturbed by such a thing. Even Leng Lianshuang was a little confused. Inside the cafeteria, Su Liang chose a place and asked Bai Qianqian to wait for him. Bai Qianqian rarely comes here. So I just ate my own compressed biscuits. She looked at Su Liang's back in a daze. She couldn't imagine why Su Liang was suddenly so kind to her. They didn't even know each other well before. Like her? Impossible. Bai Qianqian directly rejected this possibility. Maybe he saw the miserable situation in her home yesterday, so he wanted to help her. That's how it should be. In a daze, Su Liang had returned with 2 meals. There is meat, vegetables and fruits. The amount is not large, but it is still nutritionally balanced. Su Liang directly placed the portion in front of Bai Qianqian. Bai Qianqian was stunned. Why did you buy it for me? I told you I would eat this. Su Liang glanced at her. If you don't want to eat it, you can just leave it. It will be a waste. Su Liang was eating his own food. That is to say, if they are treated like this at school, how many of them can eat meat every day when they return home? Now all human beings are huddled in such steel cities, with less cultivated land and precious resources. When Bai Qianqian heard this, she became anxious. No, waste will be punished. You can take it and return it. Su Liangkai ignored her. Bai Qianqian understood what he meant. He put away his biscuits, picked up his chopsticks and took a bite. Her eyes gradually turned red. It had been a long time since she had had a meal like this. Eat, just eat, don't cry. Su Liang thought it was his actions that made her sad. Bai Qianqian raised her head and looked at Su Liang with her red eyes. There is a feeling of grievance and guilt. Why do you want to be nice to me? I really have nothing to repay you with. Su Liang was stunned for a moment. He was silent for a moment, stretched out his hand, and wiped the tears from her eyes affectionately. Because I want you to protect me in the future. Chapter 11. I write about your mother. After finishing the meal, Bai Qianqian followed Su Liang with red eyes. Came to the shade of a tree on the playground. Su Liang sat down. Come and sit. Bai Qianqian held her small hands together and stood there timidly. Su Liang smiled. Don't you want to know the reason? Sit down and I'll tell you. Bai Qianqian glanced at him before sitting down, just some distance away from Su Liang. My kindness to you actually has a purpose. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang. What purpose could it serve? I'm poor and ugly, and I'm not good at studying. What's your purpose? Su Liang smiled. Bai Qianqian, you are not ugly, and your academic performance does not mean everything. Do you believe me or not? Bai Qianqian tilted her head and looked at him. Nodding, I believe you. Su Liang showed a smile. Bai Qianqian, you will awaken the SSS-level divine seal. Soon, you will become the proud daughter of heaven in the eyes of everyone. I am willing to be nice to you because I value your talent. When you become stronger in the future, you must protect me. Bai Qianqian was stunned. Because of this? SSS-level divine seal talent? She didn't believe it. How could she awaken that legendary divine seal? They haven't seen such a genius in Chengdu for many years. It's not that she doesn't believe Su Liang's words, it's that she doesn't believe that she will have such a fate. Don't you believe it? Bai Qianqian nodded slightly. I have never even dreamed of such a thing. Su Liang grinned. Bai Qianqian, you will know. This is my purpose for being good to you. I know that you will definitely become a center of attention, so I am investing in you, although it is a bit late. Su Liang thought in his head that this was his most direct thought, but at the same time, he was kind to her because he also wanted to make the Suzaku Empress less miserable in the future. Now I'm telling you, if you know my ulterior motives, if you really awaken the SSS-level divine seal in the future, will you be willing to protect me? Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang, who looked sincere and nodded without any hesitation. Su Liang smiled. Sincerity was the only sure thing. Bai Qianqian was thinking, no matter whether Su Liang you lied to me or not, if it is true, I will protect you forever in the future. If this is just a lie, she is willing to protect him. Even if it means giving her life for it. Okay, let's go back to the classroom and take a rest. Fighting class will begin soon. Su Liang walked in front, the corner of his mouth curled up, and he said it was better. He also felt a little lighter inside. After all, this kind of approach with ulterior motives also made him feel a little guilty. But if you open it up, it will be fine. Bai Qianqian followed him. the sunlight filtering through the dense leaves and falling sparsely on his back. Bai Qianqian murmured in her heart. If it is true as you said, I am willing to be your light in the future, because you are my light now. Go back to the classroom and take a short rest. Some students have already changed into fighting training clothes. Su Liang glanced at Bai Qianqian. Where are your combat training clothes? Bai Qianqian shook her head. It broke a long time ago, I didn't buy it. Su Liang was silent for a moment. Her father was so stupid, and the family had no extra money at all. The school distributes new combat training uniforms every year, all of which are customized. However, if it is damaged during subsequent fighting training and needs to be replaced, additional fees will be required. Bai Qianqian didn't have the money, so naturally she never changed it. Therefore, during this period of fighting training, there was basically no need to change clothes, and the fighting was just a formality. This is also the reason why she doesn't dare to let go and train. As now, her fighting level is only B-. It's okay. I'll be awakened next week. Then I'll have a new one when I go to the Chosen Academy. If you don't change today, then I won't change either. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang. You'd better change. The squad leader will definitely make trouble for you today. Su Liang smiled. It's okay, do you think he is my opponent? Bai Qianqian recalled Su Liang's strength last night. Yes, he was so strong. How could the monitor be his opponent? Her worries were completely unnecessary. But Bai Qianqian was also a little confused. He was obviously very strong, why did he pretend to be B-level? By the time it was almost time, some students had already gone to the fighting field. As for those people who were sprayed by Su Liang in the morning, when they left, they glanced at Su Liang in the corner and cast provocative looks. They all thought that they would teach Su Liang a lesson today. Zhang Tianhao was even more violent. Su Liang, don't be a coward. I'll wait for you. He gave Su Liang a thumbs up. Su Liang sneered at this. Zhang Tianhao and the others swaggered towards the fighting arena. Yang Biao ran to Su Liang's side. Why don't you change into your training clothes? If I don't change, if I beat those little bastards, I will lose even if I use an extra hand. Yang Biao raised his eyebrows. You didn't take the wrong medicine, right? Or do you have a secret weapon? Su Liang said casually, just keep an eye on it. Brother Liang, don't take it lightly. Those guys seem to be planning to punish you today. Don't worry, it's no problem. You go first, Qianqian, and I will be back later. Yang Biao cursed, it's so intimate. Bai Qianqian also lowered her head shyly. After Su Liang confessed, she seemed to have stopped touching these things. Su Liang prepared a little. Let's go too. I'll deal with them later and I'll come practice with you. Bai Qianqian nodded timidly, okay. But I felt inexplicably happy. Chengdu is only a 4th-level city with a population of more than 1 million. It can only be regarded as the smallest 4th-level city. Cities with a population of more than 5 million can be called 3rd-level cities. Of course, below the 4th level, there are 5th-level cities, and the population of the 5th-level cities is less than 1 million. Since the mutation began in 2030, humans have been bloodbathed by alien beasts, and the population has dropped sharply. After 300 years of development, a new ecological system has already been formed. Almost 99% of human beings are concentrated in cities. The former countryside is not conducive to establishing effective countermeasures. The population was concentrated in cities, and a unique offensive and defensive system was established. The countryside and the mountains and rivers have become the territory of strange beasts. Therefore, resources and food have become extremely precious. Many resources require powerful divine choosers to go outside the city to collect them. In many cases, the chosen ones often pay the price with their lives. In this era, wasting food and resources is a major sin. There are 10 Shenjue middle schools in Chengdu, a 4th-level city, and they are the second middle school. There are approximately 20,000 students in each Shenjue middle school. There are about 6,000 to 7,000 people in their 3rd year of high school. Don't look at it too much, but this is the result of clustering. Outside of Chengdu, there is no other city within 100 miles. The surrounding area is basically a deserted no-man's land. 6,000 to 7,000 people in the third grade of high school were divided into 4 time periods for combat training. Their 7th class was divided into the first stage in the afternoon. Come to the exclusive fighting arena. Some students have already started. And in the position of Class 7. Those people headed by Zhang Tianhao were staring at Su Liang eagerly. There was a sneer on his face. The old maid who is the head teacher shows up. Okay, everyone is here. Let's each choose our opponents and start fighting training. We will be awakened next week. Let's seize the last moment to unleash our potential. Hearing this, Su Liang shook his head secretly. The one who can truly awaken the divine seal does not come through fighting. It's basically life. There are more than 60 people in their class, but only a dozen can finally awaken the divine seal, and they are basically C and B level beings. A few 3 or 4 people can awaken to level A. As for S level and SS level, forget about it. There are only a few of the more than 6,000 people in the school. But this time, unexpectedly, the SSS level by Qianqian appeared. Some students have already begun to pick opponents and train each other. At this moment, Liao Yuqian looked at Su Liang. Where's the review I asked you to write? Why didn't I see you hand it over? As soon as these words came out, Zhang Tianhao and others sneered. It would be good to watch a show before beating him up. Look at Liao Yuqian's ugly face. Su Liang really wanted to slap her twice. Damn it, old maid, just treat yourself like a human being. Zhang Tianhao and the others were all waiting to see Su Liang get scolded so badly. Su Liang looked indifferent. I didn't write it. Liao Yuqian immediately came up. You didn't write it? Are you still justified in hurting your classmates? Write it now. 30,000 words. Don't even practice if you miss one word. What if I don't write? Su Liang sneered. Get out of here if you don't write. You don't understand any rules. Didn't your parents teach you to respect your teachers and respect your principals? Liao Yuqian really showed her ugly face to the extreme. All of this was just her wanting to lick Zhang Tianhao, the rich second generation. Zhang Tianhao and the others watched the scene in front of them with great interest. It was really a good show. But Su Liang's head turned cold. Is such a person worthy of being a teacher? His words are not surprising and he will never stop. Showing a sneer, I'll write about your mother. The classmates in Class 7 fell silent for an instant. Everyone's jaws dropped to the ground. Chapter 12 already read and reposted. All the students in Class 7 were stunned. It seems I heard it wrong. Bai Qianqian also opened her mouth wide. Is Su Liang scolding the teacher? But the head teacher went too far. Even Zhang Tianhao and the others were in a state of confusion. What happened to Su Liang today? Is there something wrong with his brain? Liao Yuqian froze for a while, in disbelief. His face alternated between green and red, and gradually became gloomy. Say it again. Su Liang sneered. I said, I am writing about your mother. Liao Yuqian's face turned red, her towering chest was rising and falling, and her delicate body was trembling. She roared angrily, Su Liang. You. Su Liang snorted coldly, what are you? Are you worthy of being a teacher? Why should I write a self-criticism? Everyone saw it yesterday. It was Zhang Tianhao, a guy who was just looking for trouble, who took the initiative. I was just passive defense. Why did I hurt my classmate? Are your eyes dry? As a teacher, you insult and reprimand me indiscriminately. Do you only see the rich second generation in your eyes? What? Will flattering him help you get promoted? Or can he help you evolve? Respecting teachers and teachings? For a person like you, what kind of teacher should I respect? What teachings did you teach? Flattery and coquettishness? As soon as these words came out, the students were speechless. Only Zhang Tianhao's face looked a little ugly. After all, he was also brought in. As for Liao Yuqian, her face had turned the color of pig liver. Indeed, Zhang Tianhao was the instigator of what happened yesterday, but she didn't expect that this boy Su Liang would dare to openly contradict her like this. Tear her fig leaf to pieces. Zhang Tianhao angrily scolded, Su Liang. You are so presumptuous. You dare to insult the teacher. Do you still have any sense of courtesy and integrity in your eyes? Liao Yuqian reacted. He also yelled angrily, I want to report it to the Political and Education Office. You openly contradicted and insulted the teacher. You will be expelled. Don't be stupid. Liao Yuqian was so angry that she was already a little hysterical. Su Liang sneered, You still want to fire me? Zhang Tianhao then yelled angrily, Su Liang, don't go too far. You are asking for your own destruction. Shut up. Su Liang scolded. There is a nest of snakes and rats, and they are all working together. If she doesn't lick you for a day, you won't be happy, right? Tell yourself, did you take the initiative to cause trouble yesterday? If you can't beat me, will you say I bullied you? Is she worthy to be a teacher? Is she worthy? Su Liang issued a soul torture. Zhang Tianhao was also extremely embarrassed. You are talking nonsense. I can't beat you. It's obviously you who used despicable means. You must have secretly used the source crystal equipment. Otherwise you can't be my opponent. Hearing this, Su Liang sneered. Just throw out 2 words. Idiot. Telling them this is a complete waste of time. Bai Qianqian on the side was already stunned. Is this Su Liang? Leng Lianshuang, who was watching all this from a distance, was a little confused. What was going on with Su Liang? Liao Yuqian was furious, squad leader. Take it down, I want to send it to the Political and Education Department. Take it down. Take it down. Liao Yuqian was so angry that she almost lost her mind. Zhang Tianhao got the order. Students, let's take down this arrogant person together. This is so outrageous. We in Class 7 don't need such shameless people. Those who were named by Su Liang in the morning all had expressions of indignation. Okay. Let's take action together. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 people had already taken a step forward, aggressively. Su Liang snorted lightly. Smiling evilly, come on. Su Liang took out the cane he had just broken off from behind. He knew that Zhang Tianhao would not give up, so he prepared such a cane. Su Liang turned to look at Bai Qianqian. Qianqian, please get out of the way first. Bai Qianqian's eyes were a little worried, are you really okay? Teacher. Su Liang shook his head at her, don't worry, nothing will happen. Su Liang knew very well that it was impossible for the school to expel him for such a thing. As long as the matter is investigated clearly and the surveillance video is released, the truth will be revealed. And he will awaken the divine seal. Even a rubbish B-level divine seal is still a valuable asset to the school. Yang Biao on the side also showed a worried look. Brother Liang. Su Liang just gave him a smile. Then Su Liang looked at Zhang Tianhao and the others. Come on, I want to see how you can take me down. Zhang Tianhao snorted coldly, students, take it down. As the squad leader, he naturally has to set an example in such matters. And he always felt that Su Liang was a little weird, and what happened yesterday was still vivid in his mind. Therefore, he didn't want to rely on others, so he just took it down together and then humiliated him and took revenge. In the blink of an eye, 8 of them had rushed out. It's coming menacingly. Zhang Tianhao's eyes showed a look of madness. The time for his revenge has finally come. Su Liang. Kneel down and lick the soles of my shoes. The next moment, Su Liang twitched the cane in his hand, and his main target was Zhang Tianhao. He dodged and avoided the attacks of Zhang Tianhao and others. Swing the cane. Snap. Zhang Tianhao, who was still looking proud and ferocious, his face instantly solidified. He bit his lip, but couldn't hold it in anyhow. His face turned red instantly. Ah! With a scream, like the beaten puppy, he touched his butt and performed a magical dance, crossing his steps. Tears are about to flow. Your uncles. There was no time to react. Su Liang whipped him again. Snap. Zhang Tianhao was about to cry. His hands clawed at his back frantically, and the burning pain made him dumbfounded. The body is twisting. The corners of Su Liang's mouth raised slightly. Under the eye of insight, their movements slowed down, showing off. The one I hit is you. Most of these guys have A-level fighting skills. Su Liang's sudden two whip blows stunned the others. Zhang Tianhao collapsed and shouted, "Come on!" Several other people rushed towards Su Liang. Su Liang moved easily through the crowd. No one can meet Su Liang. Then Su Liang started his crazy whip technique. Crack. Ah. Crack. Ah. Hiss. Screams sounded, just like those dogs barking. Su Liang was able to survive the siege of 8 people with ease. He waved the cane in his hand and hit them on their bodies. These guys began to twist their bodies one by one, like gorillas who couldn't scratch their backs. The students watching the battle were stunned. I even closed my eyes and didn't dare to look. What happened? At this time, somewhere in the fighting arena, the principal accompanied him personally, with Qi Hengqiu and Gong Lai beside him. Principal Lu had a smile on his face. Sure enough, he is quite strong. He can fight 8 by himself with ease. I didn't expect there to be such a hidden master in our school. After Qi Hengqiu took a look, he nodded slightly. His state of mind is very stable. Until now, they have not touched him once and completely crushed him. Even some members of our team are not at this level of this kind of combat awareness. Gong Lai looked at Qi Hengqiu in shock. "Captain, are you rated so highly?" Qi Hengqiu did not speak. "But I have no intention of reading any more. Principal Lu, please help take care of me, but don't tell him about us." Principal Lu smiled and said, "No problem, Captain Qi, you have spoken, I will definitely not let anything happen to him." Qi Hengqiu nodded slightly, "Thank you very much. Captain Qi, you're welcome." Qi Hengqiu and Gong Lai left, but Gong Lai was left at the school gate. The principal watched Su Liang and the others fight. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. When I was still a student, I was targeted by our number 1 hunting team in Chengdu. This is the best admission brochure. The principal looked there and did not leave. And at Su Liang's place. It's already a bit of a rush. The 8 people were slapped by Su Liang until their eyes showed fear. My body felt like it was on fire. Stop fighting, stop fighting. Woo woo. They've been stoned. The eyes were red. This was more painful than hitting them with swords, guns and sticks. One by one, they were lying on the ground shaking wildly. Su Liang twitched the cane and threw it on Zhang Tianhao's body. Snap. Zhang Tianhao's face turned into a chrysanthemum. "Come on, aren't you awesome?" Crack. "Aren't you going to take me down?" Crack. "Aren't you going to let me hang around Leng Lianshuang?" Crack. Su Liang took special care of Zhang Tianhao. Zhang Tianhao is now spinning on the ground like a water snake. Zhang Tianhao's eyes were red, which was completely shameful. He couldn't believe it. I am A+ grade and was completely tortured. This guy also took care of him. His eyes were red. "Damn it, why do you keep hitting me?" Woohoo! Zhang Tianhao collapsed. Su Liang smiled. "You are wearing a nanomaterial combat uniform and you are the squad leader, so you have to bear a little more." Zhang Tianhao. Snap. Zhang Tianhao is about to collapse. "If you can, beat me to death." Su Liang looked at him in shock. This is the first time I have heard such a perverted request. I can't help it. Who makes me a good person? Okay. I will meet your request. Snap. Zhang Tianhao pursed his lips and shed 2 lines of tears. Su Liang, you are going too far. What? Didn't I hit it deep enough? Snap. Su Liang. You and I are irreconcilable. What? You want me to beat you for a day? Snap. Ah. I'm going to kill you. What? You want to thank me? Snap. The faces of the students around were twitching. Is this a living king of hell? Why is there an inexplicable feeling of joy? Su Liang mainly made a reed reply. The other 7 people were lying on the ground, looking terrified and retreating crazily. This is a devil. The eyes of the students looking at Su Liang changed. Could it be that Su Liang has been hiding his fighting skills? Stop it. Liao Yuqian finally reacted and shouted angrily. In an instant, the divine mark on his body erupted. He rushed toward Su Liang instantly. Su Liang's eyes flashed. The whip suddenly hit the old maid who grabbed her claws. Snap! The rattan exploded instantly. Su Liang was also hit in the chest by this terrifying impact. He let out a muffled groan and backed away for more than 10 meters. Even if Liao Yuqian is only the lowest level of the first seal divine chosen one, this kind of power is still very terrifying for the unawakened Su Liang. A cold light flashed in his eyes. An old maid bullies the young, right? Chapter 13. Then make it bigger. Liao Yuqian was furious. She was also shocked by the scene just now. She was puzzled. It was simply incomprehensible that a B-level could beat up so many A-levels. By the time she reacted, Zhang Tianhao was already covered in bruises. Su Liang. You insulted the teacher and beat your classmates, your crime will be increased. Today I will take you to the political and religious office and expel you. A divine seal appeared on Liao Yuqian's arm, flashing with a faint white light. But this kind of power is not something that students like them can resist. Liao Yuqian's divine seal is C level, which is the lowest divine seal. At most, it can evolve to a 2-seal divine envoy, but for Su Liang, it is still stressful. Liao Yuqian bumped her chest and ran towards Su Liang. I want to capture Su Liang directly. Seeing that things have developed like this, many students were shocked. It actually caused the teacher to take action. Now Su Liang is doomed. This even attracted the attention of some students from other classes, and they quickly gathered around. It's over. Su Liang has angered the head teacher, he will definitely be in trouble. Hey, why are you so impulsive? Bai Qianqian also panicked. No matter how strong Su Liang was, he couldn't be the opponent of the chosen one, right? That is someone who truly has the power of the divine seal. Yang Biao also looked panicked. Zhang Tianhao looked at that scene. Teacher. We must not let him escape. Su Liang did not panic. Biaozi. Gun. Su Liang drank lightly. Yang Biao reacted and threw the training spear in his hand directly to Su Liang. Catch it. Su Liang started to move. He stepped suddenly, rolled in the air, and caught the spear thrown by Yang Biao. None of these weapons were fired. Su Liang's demeanor changed completely after getting the spear. It seems that he has become the battle-hardened Su Liang he once was. The classmates were shocked. Su Liang actually wants to fight against the head teacher? Isn't this looking for death? It's over. Things are going to get serious, hurry up and call the dean. Liao Yuqian was even more frightened and angry when she saw Su Liang putting on a ready look. You don't understand dignity. Kneel down. Liao Yuqian quickly arrived in front of Su Liang. He stretched out a hand and grabbed Su Liang. Su Liang's eyes sparkled. Although the old maid was the chosen one, her movements were still slow in his eyes and were completely captured by Su Liang. Destroy the army with one move of the angry dragon. The gun comes out like a dragon. A shot stabbed directly into the palm of Liao Yuqian's hand. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Liao Yuqian took back her palm in pain. Even an unfired gun can still hurt someone. She looked at Su Liang angrily. Presumptuous. She burst out the power in the divine seal to protect her body. Attacked Su Liang again. Su Liang remained calm in the face of danger. Throw out a gun flower and disrupt Liao Yuqian's offensive line. The spear in his hand swept across. Throw it on her arm. Snap! Liao Yuqian was in unbearable pain. After all, she is just a teacher. How can she compare to Su Liang, who fought with alien beasts for decades in his previous life? The fighting skills Su Liang has mastered are all killing skills. Although Liao Yuqian now has a divine seal to protect her body and her strength exceeds that of ordinary people, she still has no way to get close to Su Liang. Liao Yuqian only felt burning pain on her face. She can't even win a student. Her face alternated between blue and red. Stop! But why would Su Liang care about her? The spear in his hand kept swinging, hitting Liao Yuqian again and again. It left a red mark. Liao Yuqian really wanted to cry. The students were already stunned. Su Liang was not defeated when faced with the divine choice of his head teacher. Su Liang's marksmanship is so amazing. It's all done in one go. Is this Su Liang's true strength? Su Liang, who was wielding the spear, had completely changed. A completely strong breath came to my face. It makes some girls become nymphomaniacs. So handsome. Really handsome. Yang Biao was already so excited that he could not speak. When did he become so powerful? Bai Qian breathed a sigh of relief, but soon became worried again. There is another place where Leng Lianshuang has already stopped his fighting training. Looking this way in a daze. Su Liang's fighting power at this time had completely exceeded her expectations. Now Su Liang is actually able to fight against the class teacher, the chosen one. Leng Lianshuang's eyes flickered. Could it be that he had been hiding his true strength in the past just to avoid making her feel unbalanced? But she admires the strong. If Su Liang had shown such strength, she wouldn't be so indifferent to him. Leng Lianshuang was silent. Su Liang, what do you want to do? Do you want to attract my attention like this? Wow! Is this a classmate from your class? Why do you think you are more powerful than those S-level guys? What a handsome marksmanship. Where did he learn it? There were bursts of complimenting sounds all around. And Liao Yuqian's eyes were already red. I feel like I've been embarrassed and disgraced. She really wants to cry. Why hasn't the director come yet? Su Liang's eyes were cold and stern, and he would not relax at all when facing the enemy. Principal Lu, who was watching all this in the dark, was already grinning from ear to ear. And just then, a violent voice came. Stop! The rough man's voice sounded, and all the students were shocked. It's over. The dean is here. A man wearing a coach's uniform rushed towards this side in a hurry. The fighting stopped instantly and Su Liang retreated. Standing there with his spear raised, he looked majestic. What are you doing? The dean is a man with a slight belly and a mustache. At this time, his face was as gloomy as water. Su Liang's face was calm. Liao Yuqian saw that the helper had finally arrived. He walked to the dean's side with red eyes. Director. I can no longer be the head teacher. This student not only insulted the teacher, but also beat his classmates. See how he beat me? Director, we must fire him. Liao Yuqian walked to the dean's side with an aggrieved look. Like a delicate little girl. The dean's eyes glanced at Liao Yuqian's plump figure without leaving any trace. What's going on? He said gloomily. Liao Yuqian said aggrievedly, this Su Liang injured a classmate yesterday. I asked him to write a self-criticism, and he said he should write to my mother. Liao Yuqian told the whole thing in an evasive and exaggerated way. The dean's face became increasingly gloomy. But I was thinking in my heart, here is my chance to win over this woman. Why do we have a scum like you in our school? How dare you beat teachers and classmates? Expelled. Must be expelled. Let's go. Follow me to the political and religious office now. You're going against the grain. The dean finished his words. The faces of the classmates were shocked. Su Liang was really finished now. Bai Qianqian was also anxious. Teacher. It's not like that. It's... The dean of students stared. Shut up. I will investigate this matter myself. Su Liang, right? Come with me. What if this takes you out of society? It's simply tarnishing the reputation of our school. Bai Qianqian almost burst into tears. Su Liang looked at the teaching director. These two guys were like a snake and a rat. A cold feeling rose in my heart. Zhang Tianhao also smiled. Ha ha ha. Su Liang, aren't you awesome? Fired. Ha ha ha. Su Liang gave them a cold look. Then he set his sights on the dean. Liao Yuqian also said aggrievedly, we must expel students like this. We don't want such students in number 2 middle school. Su Liang sneered, you didn't ask anything and just listened to her side of the story? Is this how you become a dean? Hearing this, the dean was furious. Presumptuous. It's totally against the grain. I saw you beating your classmates and teachers at the scene. The evidence is conclusive. You still want to deny it? Walk. The dean glared angrily, not wanting to give Su Liang a chance to explain. Bai Qianqian cried anxiously and rushed in front of Su Liang, trying to stop Su Liang. Teacher, it's really not like that. The dean said coldly, I will investigate clearly, but Su Liang beat his classmates and teachers today. This is a certainty. Don't say anything and go to the political and education office with me. Anyone who blocks it will receive a major demerit. The students had mixed expressions, and they made the matter a big deal after all. Zhang Tianhao has a sneer on his face, let's see how long you can dance. Su Liang pulled Bai Qianqian behind him. Don't cry, it's okay. Su Liang looked at the dean. He suddenly smashed the spear on the ground, seeming to stir up some waves. Today, I want to see if there is no distinction between black and white in this school. Since it's already such a big fuss. Then we might as well make it a little louder. I want to see if anyone can uphold justice. Su Liang took up his stance and pointed his spear at the enemy, causing them to retreat. The whole place was suddenly shocked. He actually wants to fight with the dean. Chapter 14 Fire Su Liang. At this moment, some students were infected by Su Liang's momentum. There is a feeling of excitement. How dare he? How dare he? In fact, many students know that some teachers in the school are flattering and treat them differently. They just like those kids from rich families. Will favor them in many things. But no one dares to really talk about this kind of thing. Today, Su Liang tore off this fig leaf. Make them feel refreshed. But the dean is not a one-seal divine chooser, he is a two-seal divine envoy. Su Liang cannot be his opponent. But at this time, Su Liang's eyes were full of determination. No matter who comes today, if there is no justice, then there will be a big fuss. The commotion will never end. He has no fear at all. Bai Qianqian looked at this figure in disbelief. Leng Lianshuang was also stunned. She couldn't believe it. How dare Su Liang? To be honest, at this moment, Leng Lianshuang really felt that Su Liang had shocked her. Su Liang like this, the aura exuding from his whole body is very desirable. She couldn't help but really look at Su Liang. Is this the real him? For the first time, Leng Lianshuang felt that this boy was different from others. She felt that her heart was really throbbing. Was it heartbeat? Liao Yuqian said with a hint of resentment on her face, Director, look at it, you are going to rebel. Such students are not worthy of being students in our number 2 middle school. Take him down. If we don't teach him a lesson like this, others will say there is something wrong with our teaching in number 2 middle school. The dean's face was as gloomy as water. It's so outrageous. It's just a discredit to our number 2 middle school. Let's see how long you can jump. The dean is about to take action. And that's about it. There was a slight vibration on the dean's arm. He glanced. Damn it, the principal is calling. Then he answered the call, and a sound that only he could hear came from his ears. Is your brain blocked by shit? What are you going to do to such an outstanding student? Bully the weak in public? Isn't that embarrassing enough? If he loses a hair, don't do it. Get out of here as soon as possible. The dean felt as if he had been electrocuted. His face turned pale instantly. The principal is protecting this student. What is the origin of this student? The dean felt as if he had suddenly been showered in a cold sweat. He almost ruined his future. Fortunately, there were no irreparable consequences. He looked at Su Liang with fear in his heart. This student is definitely not simple. He was able to get the principal to call him personally. This is definitely not something he can do. It's better now, but it's hard to get off the tiger. Zhang Tianhao and Liao Yuqian were still excited. If the dean took action, Su Liang would definitely be in trouble. The surrounding students also shook their heads secretly. Su Liang was too impulsive. I'm afraid I really will be fired. Bai Qianqian had tears on her face and was very worried. Yang Biao was also extremely anxious. But Su Liang was the only one with a calm face. Even if he was really going to be tortured, he would still take action. He still doesn't believe it. However, the dean was silent. It didn't move for a long time. Director? Liao Yuqian shouted. The dean is almost furious now. Ahem. He coughed twice. In the blink of an eye, the expression on his face suddenly changed. Forced a smile. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. As expected of me, I am a student of Shinjue No. 2 Middle School. At such a young age, my fighting ability is so amazing. I am really lucky to be in No. 2 Middle School. Su Liang, this matter is the teacher's dereliction of duty. I am here to apologize to you on her behalf. Don't take it personally. I will investigate the whole process of the matter immediately and I will never let you suffer any grievance. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the audience was stunned. Looked at the dean in disbelief. What's going on? Don't worry, why didn't you figure it out all of a sudden? What's going on? Many people present had their CPUs burned. This attitude changed 180 degrees, and you even apologized to Su Liang? Director? Liao Yuqian looked at the teaching director in disbelief. Director, he beats the teacher and classmates, shouldn't he be punished severely? The dean of students is now furious with her. This matter is not as simple as you said, I will investigate it clearly. Okay. It's all gone. Don't stand around when you need to train. The dean showed an awkward smile to Su Liang, pulled Liao Yuqian and wanted to leave. Etc. The dean's steps froze. Student Su, is there anything else you can do? Su Liang didn't know why his attitude suddenly changed. But there must be a reason. He smiled and said, Teacher, can you give me an explanation for this matter? After all, I didn't cause the trouble in the first place. The dean smiled apologetically and said, Sure, I'll investigate when I get back now. Su Liang smiled and nodded, Then I'll bother you, teacher. It should. The dean smiled and pulled away the confused Liao Yuqian. Liao Yuqian was almost furious. The students around him were extremely shocked. The dean was so humble to Su Liang. Could it be that Su Liang's background is greater than that of someone like Zhang Tianhao? The crowd gradually dispersed. Zhang Tianhao felt as if he had eaten shit. He looked at Su Liang with a look of resentment. Is this the end? So what's his plan for the meal he received today? No, this is a shame, and we absolutely cannot let it go like this. After the storm calmed down, Yang Biao and Bai Qianqian appeared next to Su Liang, welcoming their compliments. But there was only one person whose eyes were fixed on Su Liang. Lang Lianshuang knew that the reason why the dean changed his attitude just now was because of a phone call. In other words, someone warned the dean of students at that time. So who has so much energy? Can the teaching director change his attitude instantly? In other words, Su Liang's background is definitely not that simple. Brother Liang, you are so awesome. When did you become so strong? You can even beat the head teacher. Did you secretly practice more at night? Bai Qianqian also had a smile on her face. Su Liang said with a smile, Let me train more. She is too good at it. She is not even proficient in using the basic power of the divine seal. Hurry up and train. I have to train with Qianqian. Yang Biao rolled his eyes. You're a guy who values S**x over friends. Bai Qianqian lowered her head shyly. Her face was flushed. Su Liang laughed and cursed, get out of here. Yang Biao also cursed, but still reminded him. You have to be careful, that B********************* Di Zhang Tianhao won't give up. Be careful after school, be careful of what he does. Su Liang nodded, yes, I understand. Yang Biao left and found his opponent for training. Su Liang smiled and said, Qianqian, let's start. I'll practice with you. Bai Qianqian's face turned red. How do I practice? Seeing Bai Qianqian's shy look, the corners of Su Liang's mouth raised slightly. Thought for a moment. Bai Qianqian awakened the SSS-level divine seal. It is the highest level and the purest flame seal. Known as the ultimate fire. At the end of becoming the God Emperor, she could easily burn down a first-level city with one person. It is truly great power. Later, she occupied the Suzaku throne and became the Supreme Suzaku Empress. She doesn't actually need to practice weapons. Thinking of this, Su Liang said, just use the close combat skills you have learned to attack me, and I will guide you. Bai Qianqian was a little shy, but still nodded. Then you have to be careful. Su Liang smiled and nodded, okay, come on. Bai Qianqian took a stance and attacked Su Liang. In Su Liang's view, Bai Qianqian's fist was no different from little pink boxing. It is really unimaginable that she will become the Suzaku Empress in the future. Punches must be decisive and hit the vital point directly. When this punch is struck, your right foot needs to be coordinated. As long as you turn it slightly, your center of gravity will be very stable. In the face of the enemy, you can't hold back at all. You must use your most powerful force to take action. Don't hesitate. Based on Su Liang's fighting experience, there is absolutely no problem teaching Bai Qianqian now. Bai Qianqian is actually very smart. She can master many skills at a glance, and her improvement is obvious. She was very happy. On the other side, Leng Lianshuang, who was fighting with a female classmate, was absent-minded throughout the entire class. From time to time, he would look at Su Liang and Bai Qianqian. She suddenly felt like someone had robbed her toy. Lianshuang, let's forget it, you're not in the right state. The girl stopped attacking and walked to the absent-minded Leng Lianshuang. Leng Lianshuang also nodded, okay, then forget it. The girl looked towards Su Liang and the others. Lianshuang, don't you have feelings for Su Liang? There was a trace of panic in Leng Lianshuang's pupils. No. Her voice was still cold. The girl smiled and said, Lianshuang, if you think Su Liang is worthy of your attention now, you might as well take the initiative to get closer to him. With your beauty, Su Liang will definitely abandon Bai Qianqian and come back to you. Leng Lianshuang said, no, I don't have one. The girl smiled and said, I don't know you yet. Actually, it's okay. I think Su Liang's performance today is indeed good. And among the people who pursue you, he is indeed good-looking. If Su Liang awakens a good divine seal, you will suffer a big loss. Don't be confused at this time. Why don't you talk to him? Even if we can't be boyfriend and girlfriend, we are just ordinary classmates and friends, can't we still have a chat? Hearing this, Leng Lianshuang fell silent. Maybe you want to say something? After yesterday, Su Liang actually ignored her. But you want her to compete with such a clown duck? Isn't this a joke? But there are some things that need to be said clearly, right? Chapter 15. Even if you lie to me, I am willing. Office of the Dean of Students. When the dean came back, Liao Yuqian stood up anxiously. Director, are you clear? The dean's face looked a little ugly, so he went to see the principal. The principal scolded him so loudly that he almost couldn't find Bei. Now he knew clearly that the student named Su Liang could not move. The dean looked at Liao Yuqian, a plump woman, and had an idea in his heart. He said with a sad face, "Teacher Liao, this Su Liang can't move." Liao Yuqian was stunned. "Why?" "Director, he hit me, you have to make the decision for me." Liao Yuqian felt aggrieved. He also put on an alluring pose. "Let the dean's evil fire surge." "Making the decision? Are you favoring Zhang Tianhao from your class in this matter?" "It's okay. Why do you want him to write a review? In this matter, after all, you are too partial." Liao Yuqian's eyes were red and she lowered her head. "Is that all?" The dean said with a headache, "What else? Do you know that your position as head teacher is now being removed and you will become an ordinary teacher?" "What?" Liao Yuqian was shocked. "Stand up instantly. Now I finally realize the seriousness of the matter. Director, you must help me. I finally got to this point." She directly grabbed her master's arm and rubbed it into her chest. "Let the dean of students think about it." Liao Yuqian also knew very clearly that the director had always wanted her. This time she didn't expect that she would hit an iron plate. She must keep it. The dean shook her hand away. "Teacher Liao, it's not that I won't help you. This is what I said above. What can I do?" "Director," Liao Yuqian's voice gradually became softer. "Director, you are in charge of all the teachers, isn't teaching just a matter of your words? As long as you help me, Director, I can." The dean finally heard the answer he wanted. He became distraught. "Teacher Liao, it's really difficult this time." Liao Yuqian's eyes were red. He leaned in front of the dean and hugged his arm tightly. "Director, you must help me." While talking, Liao Yuqian had already started to move. The dean just pretended to know nothing. Until the atmosphere in the office gradually became ambiguous. "Help me." The dean coughed twice. Okay, but you still have to be removed for the time being. After Shinjue and the college entrance examination are over, I will bring you back next time, okay?" "Thank you, Director." Liao Yuqian was so surprised that she hugged the dean's face and kissed him. The dean coughed twice, then, this. Liao Yuqian rolled her eyes at him charmingly. "Director, it's my first time." The dean suddenly became very happy. "Hey, I'll be gentle, little baby." There were some unpleasant sounds in the office. The 2.5-hour fighting class ended. Everyone returned to the classroom and changed back to normal clothes. The moment Su Liang returned to the classroom, all the students' eyes couldn't help but fall on Su Liang. Full of awe. This is not just caused by the unclear background. What's more, it's Su Liang's strength. Zhang Tianhao's face was gloomy, he didn't look at him, he just lowered his head, feeling angry in his heart. Those who had bullied Bai Qianqian also lowered their heads. Su Liangkai ignored it and just sat with Bai Qianqian. In the afternoon, they have another class. Su Liang was sitting next to Bai Qianqian. You can even smell the faint fragrance wafting from Bai Qianqian's body. There is really a big difference, girls smell good when they sweat. "Thank you for training with me today. I feel I have improved a lot." Bai Qianqian's voice was soft. Su Liang smiled and said, "Have you forgotten what I said? I have a purpose." Bai Qianqian lowered her head, but the corners of her mouth secretly raised. "Even if you are lying to me, I am still willing." Not long. A teacher walked into the classroom. The classmates were a little surprised. Why is he not the head teacher? This class on spiritual knowledge is usually given by the head teacher. This teacher is a male teacher. Who is Su Liang? Su Liang raised his hand. "Teacher, it's me." The teacher nodded. "That's right, tell everyone. Your class teacher, Ms. Liao Yuqian, mishandled the 2 incidents yesterday and today. She was punished by the Academic Affairs Office and removed from her position as your class teacher." As soon as these words came out, the whole place seemed to explode. They all looked shocked. Their head teacher was fired. And all this is because of Su Liang. At this moment, the students were even more shocked than before. He became more and more suspicious of Su Liang's identity. Many students looked at Su Liang in disbelief. Su Liang was plain. Of course, I was still a little surprised. I didn't expect that I would achieve this step. Everyone be quiet. The male teacher spoke. From now on until the college entrance examination, I will temporarily act as your class teacher. My surname is Hu and my name is Huan Shan. Su Liang, are you satisfied with this result? Huan Shan looked towards Su Liang. Su Liang smiled and nodded, okay, I have no objection. Huan Shan nodded, that's good, then let's go to class directly. The students still couldn't hide their surprise. What is Su Liang's background? You can actually do this. Zhang Tianhao's face was gloomy, damn, this matter is not over yet. Leng Lianshuang seemed to feel a little firmer after hearing the news. The teacher's voice sounded, I don't know how Teacher Liao taught you in the past. Since I am here to teach, I will tell you according to my style. 2030 is the first year of divine awakening. In that year, we humans gave birth to the first divine chosen one. This year is also the year when alien beasts rise. The chosen one, the person recognized by us humans as God's chosen one, is given the divine seal and controls the power of God. After a decent class, the students were not very interested, and they all knew some knowledge. They were even more surprised by Su Liang's identity. But there was no way of knowing, and the teacher didn't say much. I just know that I'm afraid they won't be able to see their original class teacher in the short term. It's time for school to end. Come on, Qianqian, I'll take you home. Su Liang greeted by Qianqian after school. Now no one dares to bully her anymore, so she doesn't have all those messy things to do. Bai Qianqian said shyly, no need to send me off, you have to go home early. Then let's go out to the school headquarters together. Bai Qianqian nodded with a slightly red face. He packed his things and followed Su Liang's footsteps. Yang Biao also came to Su Liang's side. Let's play a few games together. What he said about playing 2 games is a virtual game. They can load their consciousness into the game to hunt strange beasts. It can be considered as a way to improve one's fighting level, but in the end it is still about gaming. Su Liang shook his head, I won't go, I'm poor. And I want to accompany Qianqian, so get out of here and don't be a light bulb. Yang Biao angrily said, you are cruel. Yang Biao left quickly and would never act as a light bulb for Su Liang. Bai Qianqian lowered her head shyly. Light bulb? The two left the classroom one after another. And it was at this time that Leng Lianshuang followed up. She felt that some things needed to be said clearly. This guy ignored her all day, and she suddenly felt uncomfortable. The two of them were walking on the road. Su Liang said, if something happens to you, just call me. Don't be brave alone. Bai Qianqian nodded timidly, oh. But Bai Qianqian never likes to trouble others. Now that I owe Su Liang so much money and favors, how should I repay him? She really didn't want to trouble Su Liang over some trivial matters. Su Liang looked at Bai Qianqian's side face, the breeze blew gently on her cheeks, and her hair was gently picked up. There is a unique beauty in the sunset. But he could only hold her thigh, not the Empress as his own. But I still suggest that you and your mother can move to my house so that you can be taken care of. Bai Qianqian shook her head, I can still live at home. Su Liang put his thoughts away. Okay, let's see. Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind Su Liang and the others. Su Liang. Su Liang turned around and looked at the figure that was as cold as a snow lotus with some surprise. She would actually take the initiative to look for him? Chapter 16 Qianqian doesn't know how. Su Liang looked at the college beauty everyone said. She is very beautiful and is a beauty in the eyes of almost all boys. Not only his academic performance is good, but his fighting level is also high. It can be considered that everyone loves you and flowers bloom when you see them. But Su Liang has no feelings for her now. This is a very rational woman, even cold. As long as it is of no use to her or does not involve any interests, she can discard it at any time. It was like he had licked her for so long in his previous life, and after awakening the divine seal, she was abandoned without hesitation. Su Liang glanced at her. Is something wrong? Leng Lianshuang's eyes flickered when she looked at Su Liang. I want to talk to you alone. After she finished speaking, her eyes fell on Bai Qianqian. Compared with Leng Lianshuang, Bai Qianqian really felt that she was an ugly duckling. She was too inferior to look at Leng Lianshuang. You guys talk, I'm leaving first. Unexpectedly, Su Liang grabbed Bai Qianqian's wrist. Need not. When Su Liang suddenly grabbed her wrist, Bai Qianqian's delicate body seemed to be electrocuted, frozen in place and unable to move. The cheeks were instantly filled with blush. Leng Lianshuang watched him hold her hand. Suddenly I felt like my heart was being pricked with needles. She seems to be jealous because of such a thing. Leng Lianshuang felt very uncomfortable. Did he do this on purpose to show her? If you have anything to say, just say it, we still have to go home. Leng Lianshuang's expression finally fluctuated. She took a deep breath. Looking at Su Liang, he didn't shy away from his gaze at all. Su Liang, I told you that I don't want to fall in love before I have divine consciousness. You can understand that I rejected you yesterday. But you won't find her to disgust me, right? Are you that frivolous? Hearing this, Su Liang smiled. It was really the old lady who got into bed and made me laugh. Bai Qianqian suddenly felt pain in her heart. Was Su Liang looking for her to disgust her Leng Lianshuang? Bai Qianqian only felt a little sad and even more inferior. I said, we can still be friends. If you continue like this, Su Liang stretched out his hand to stop him. Stop it. Leng Lianshuang was stunned. Su Liang said, Leng Lianshuang, you feel too good about yourself, don't you? Why do you mean I'm looking for her to disgust you? Can you stop being so narcissistic? Hearing this, Leng Lianshuang's expression changed. Leng Lianshuang, I tell you clearly that I don't like you anymore, so don't bother me. You can continue to be your college beauty. I'm the only one left to lick you, and there are Zhang Tianhao and the others. Don't feel good about yourself either. Qianqian is not someone I asked to disgust you. She is Bai Qianqian, not an object that can be used for comparison. I ask you to be more respectful. Upon hearing this, Bai Qianqian and Leng Lianshuang's expressions froze almost at the same time. Bai Qianqian was shocked and moved. Her eyes were slightly red, she was really touched. The inferiority complex just now was wiped away by Su Liang's 2 words. It turned out that in his eyes, Bai Qianqian was never the ugly duckling, nor was she someone who could be insulted at will. Bai Qianqian lowered her head and glanced at the wrist held by Su Liang. My heart felt inexplicably warm. Leng Lianshuang felt empty in her heart. He actually talked to her like this. A wave of anger and a hint of grievance surged up. You. Su Liang snorted lightly, figure out your position from now on. Although you are beautiful now and are the school beauty in everyone's eyes, not everyone wants to surround you. It was the first time that Leng Lianshuang was so angry with such a man that her chest heaved up and down. Her fair and jade-like skin began to flush a little, which was because she was angry. Su Liang. Su Liang looked at her, is there anything else? You will regret it. Ha ha ha. Su Liang laughed. He really has no regrets. He already has an empress, so what else does he need as a school beauty? Su Liang smiled and said, Leng Lianshuang, let me ask you a question. Leng Lianshuang was stunned for a moment. If you awakened an S-level divine seal, and I only awakened a C-level or B-level seal, would you still let me get close to you? Certainly. Leng Lianshuang was about to say something subconsciously, but was suddenly blocked. Of course she would. But she hesitated. Her family taught her that talent determines many things. The future achievements of a B-level and an A-level chosen one are completely different things, let alone an S-level one. Even if a B-level person uses all his strength, he may still reach the level of a 3-seal master. As for A-level, you can become a 4-seal god general. If you work harder, you will have better luck, while for S-level, you can at least become a 5-seal god general. It's a world of difference. Therefore, don't get too close to some boys before awakening. After awakening, everything will become clear, and the type of person you should contact will be determined. Those who are less talented than her don't need to pay too much attention at all, they are basically two different people. Of course, all this must be based on the premise that she has awakened a high-level divine seal. If the level of the divine seal she awakened is low, or in other words, she has not awakened, that would be a different matter. She would make friends with many people, and then be admitted to university to research more high-tech source crystal weapons for China. But she still can't be too close to everyone now, and she can't ignore the possibility of awakening a high-level divine seal. Su Liang smiled. Look, you hesitated, which proves that you also think so in your heart. Leng Lianshuang still wanted to explain. Su Liang smiled and said, no need to explain, I understand that you are proud, so I don't want to lick you anymore, we are not suitable. But Qian won't. Regardless of whether she awakens the S-level divine seal in the future, she will never neglect others because their seal level is low. Really? Qian. Bai Qian and Su Liang looked at each other, their eyes curved into a crescent shape. Smiling and nodding. Let's go home. This is indeed Su Liang's true thoughts, because he knows that after awakening the S-level divine seal, Leng Lianshuang will be looked down upon by no one and will not recognize their classmates at all. So what's the point of sticking up? Waiting for the future? Was she sent into the mouth of a strange beast? Leng Lianshuang froze in place, watching their leaving figures. Leng Lianshuang didn't react for a long time, but felt a sense of frustration. Did she lose to that ugly duckling? Why? Moreover, how could Su Liang ask such a question? This is baffling. And how did Su Liang know some of her inner thoughts? She maintained her aloof persona just because she was waiting for divine awakening. After a long time, she snorted coldly. Su Liang, I don't think I'm wrong. As long as I awaken the high-level divine seal, the low-level classmates will be a burden to me. Since you are so sure, let's see who has the higher level of awakened divine seal. If you are high, I, Leng Lianshuang, can also lick you. The weak eat the strong, the law of nature. Walk to the school gate. Along the way, Bai Qian felt very happy inside. This is what it feels like to be respected by others. She hasn't felt this way for a long time, but today, Su Liang gave her too many surprises. The two were about to separate at the gate of the campus and boarded the Yuanjingning school bus in different directions. Go back and have a good rest. See you tomorrow. Su Liang waved to her. Bai Qian showed a sweet smile. The same to you. Watching the school bus, Bai Qian was riding disappear in an instant. The corners of Su Liang's mouth raised slightly. The relationship with the Empress is getting closer again. The future is promising. Su Liang did not take the school bus immediately. He thought that he would get some beast crystals back and test the beast's ability to transform. Where can I get beast crystals? Resource trading point? But how can anyone buy animal crystals? Basically, animal crystals are exchanged for divine crystals or source crystals. Just have to try. The price of a 1-star beast crystal is quite high, and I don't seem to have enough money. But always ask about the price first. Su Liang only took a few steps. Gong Lai, who was squatting in front of the school and smoking a pack of cigarettes, finally waited for him. He soon followed. Su Liang immediately noticed that someone was following him. He frowned. Could it be that Zhang Tianhao or Liao Yuqian came for revenge? Su Liang dodged and broke into an alley. His body suddenly accelerated. Gong Ligang followed the alley and looked at Su Liang, who was running wildly. The cigarette fell out of his mouth. What a boy! He can actually detect that I'm following him. Gong Lai's feet suddenly exerted force. Boy, don't run. Su Liang frowned. His uncle is really blatant. Su Liang quickened his pace, but how could he match Gong Lai's speed? Boy! Don't run away. Su Liang didn't dare to stay at all. But not long after, Su Liang ran into a dead end. Damn, bad luck. Su Liang cursed and picked up a brick on the ground that could be used as a weapon. Gong Lai was a little helpless. Why are you running away? I won't eat you. Why are you stalking me? I'm telling you, I'm not gay, so don't try to trick me. Gong Lai wanted to scold his mother. Are you crazy? Who is gay? I am a serious man, why am I gay? Then what do you want to do? Su Liang was still wary. Gong Lai felt a black line on his forehead. Why are you so vigilant? I'm the one who saved you last night, and I have something to talk to you about. Su Liang opened his mouth wide. It's your uncle's fault. If you didn't tell me earlier, you let me run away for so long. Gong Lai was still anxious. It's your uncle's fault. You were the one running around for nothing and made me chase you for so long. Chapter 17 I'm not gay. The two men came out of a dead end. Gong Lai looked at Su Liang speechlessly. This kid is really a thief. However, it can also be seen from the side that he is very vigilant, and he can be considered to have tested some of his character. With such a character, it is completely okay to become a member of the Divine Hunting Team. Many members of the Divine Hunting Team are not yet so vigilant. My name is Gong Lai, you can call me Lao Gong. Holy crap. You asked a boy to call you husband, and you said you're not gay. What the hell, at yen %, Gong Lai was furious. Su Liangkai ignored him. Boss, please have 2 energy drinks. The boss inside the shop responded. Okay, 2 bosses, wait a moment. Gong Lai looked at him. Hey, can't you tell? Are you so generous? Are you rich? Su Liang glanced at him. No way. No way. You won't let me, a high school student, treat you, will you? You are also a member of the Divine Hunting Team, how can you afford this little money? Gong Lai stared, a little surprised. Are you a chicken thief? How do you know that I am a member of the Divine Hunting Team? Su Liang glanced at him. You are a ruthless person. If you are not a member of the Divine Hunting Team, is there someone like you in the military? It's true that choking someone to death doesn't pay for their lives. Gong Lai is really going to be angry to death. A finger pointed at him. You. Okay. You are awesome. I just discovered that you are even more rogue than me. I even suspected that you had worked in the Divine Hunting Team. Su Liang curled his lips. Who could say it wasn't? Been working for decades. Although his strength is not very strong, he is still somewhat famous. After all, he has been able to fight against alien beasts for so many years thanks to his status as a 3-seal Divine Master. Energy drinks are ready. Gong Lai cursed and paid. Su Liang sat down and crossed his legs. Old Gong Lai, tell me, what do you want from me? Gong Lai was really so angry that his eyesight went black. This little b*** D really wanted to slap him to death. You can call me Lao Gong, or Lao Lai, not Lao Gong Lai. Okay, old Gong Lai. Gong Lai. The main one is to listen to advice. Hurry up and tell me something. If nothing happens, I will go home. Gong Lai was a little depressed. Why couldn't he do anything with this kid? It is said to be a temptation, but in fact it has already been tempted to some extent. If this guy becomes their team member, there should be no problem with his character. We watched the surveillance video of you fighting the bloodthirsty rat last night. Well, what next? Are you handsome? Handsome. Gong Lai glared. I'm handsome, sir. Boy, can we have a nice chat? Do you believe I'll beat you up? Su Liang smiled. Oh, don't get excited. Gong Lai was furious. He was also a 3-seal master after all. He had to be treated respectfully wherever he went. But this kid was just a B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** again. When the words came to his lips, Gong Li really didn't know what to say. He discovered that this kid didn't play according to common sense at all. I thought it would be better to point it out directly. Boy, are you interested in joining our team? Hearing this, Su Liang was stunned for a moment. Me? I'm only 18 years old. You just want me to die. Where is your conscience? Gong Li was so angry that he wanted to slam the table and leave. Give him a hard look. Su Liang smiled awkwardly. Just kidding, just kidding. Which team from Rongcheng are you from? Having said this, Gong Li felt a little proud. I am Bucai, the #1 hunting team from Chengdu, the Jinsha God hunting team. Boy, you are blessed. I don't know how many divine messengers and masters have begged to join our team, but the captain has not agreed. What is the ranking of the divine hunter? One sentence choked Gong Li to death. Boy, you don't feel comfortable if you don't respond to others, right? What? I can't even ask. Isn't it necessary to know each other's ins and outs? Gong Li's scalp veins were exposed. How many teams are there in total in the divine hunter ranking? Can you enter at will? Oh, that's not popular. Hiss. Gong Li wanted to strangle the boy in front of him to death. Calm down, be calm, don't get angry, there will be no one to take care of you when you get angry. How did I find out that you know everything? You even know the ranking of the divine hunter? Is your school going to tell you this now? Su Liang shook his head. I know a little bit. How could Su Liang not know? The so-called divine hunting team is a group of chosen ones that is independent from the military. A team composed of various divine chosen ones, usually numbering around 10 people. There is a commander-in-chief, a blood drinker, a rear-end fighter, a long-range assassination team, a therapist, a backstage clairvoyant, and other divinely chosen ones. This is a team recognized by the military. Can undertake some tasks issued by the military department. It can be to go outside the city, or it can be to protect the residents in the city. The so-called Divine Hunter ranking is a highly valuable ranking list for the Divine Hunter team in China. To be on that list. That is definitely the best among the thousands of divine hunting teams in China. There is no limit to the number of teams on the list. However, to be on the list, the conditions are extremely demanding, and the overall level needs to reach a very high level, and only after layers of review can one be qualified to be included in the list. In his previous life, although Su Liang was only a 3 seal master, he relied on his knowledge, experience, and superb fighting skills to become a member of a famous team. It's unprecedented. Fortunately, I am not a laggard. Don't underestimate us, Jin Sha. It's not that easy to get on the list, and our strength is not weak. After all, we are #1 in Chengdu. I am not very talented. I am responsible for the rearguard of the Forbidden God realm in the Jin Kill team. Su Liang nodded. He's the goalkeeper. Hiss. Boy. I really want to chop you up. It's the post-fight. It's not the goalkeeper. Gong Li covered his heart and was about to explode. Su Liang smiled. Okay, no more joking. Why would you want to recruit me into your gang? I'm only 18 years old, and my divine awakening hasn't even started yet. What if I don't awaken my divine seal? Gong Li was silent for a moment. To put it simply, our captain has taken a liking to you. Your fight with the bloodthirsty rat made our captain think you are a talent. As for the divine seal, even if you don't have the divine seal, you can still become an excellent warrior with the help of Yuanjing technology, and you can join the team. Of course, this is a special case. The captain sees that you have extraordinary fighting talent. Su Liang nodded. Indeed, being able to kill a 1-star bloodthirsty rat at the age of 18, without spiritual awareness, was an extremely extreme thing. If it were any other ordinary person, it would probably be a dead end. I am just taking advantage of my past life. You can think about it carefully. Regardless of whether you have awakened the divine seal or not, you still have to live in Chengdu. Let me tell you, don't be ungrateful. Our Jinsha is still very famous in Rongcheng. Su Liang was silent for a moment. What he said was correct. After awakening the divine seal, you will initially enter the local chosen academy to learn and grow. If you are not awakened, you will still take the college entrance examination and enter the university. The university is also local. Only when you perform exceptionally well in a certain aspect and achieve certain results. Only then would it be possible to be sent to a more advanced city and receive more advanced training. Su Liang thought for a while, what if I awaken the divine seal, and I go to the Academy of the Chosen Ones, and become your team member, can you take me out on a mission? Gong Li thought, I really haven't thought about this. At first I was thinking of waiting for you to graduate from the Chosen Academy and then join our team. If you want to, it depends on whether the captain agrees or not. Your actual combat ability may have to be tested. Su Liang raised his eyebrows slightly, can the college agree? Don't worry about this, the captain has a solution, as long as you have enough combat power. Su Liang nodded, okay, I understand, please let me think about it. Gong Li nodded, you should think about it slowly, you are a generous B*******************************. D. If I really become a teammate with you, you can see whether I can cure you or not. Is this an invitation? Are you threatening me before I even get in? Do you believe that I turned around and went to another team? Gong Li cursed, do you want to get in or not? Su Liang smiled. This guy is okay. Generally speaking, after graduating from the Academy of the Chosen, there are 3 choices. First, if your talent is average, continue to be average, be an ordinary person, go to teach in those Shinjua middle schools, or do other simple things. If your talent is okay or considered very good, you can choose to join these hunting teams and walk on the edge of a knife, but the benefits are huge. The last one is to join the army. Take the exam to enter the military department. After entering the military training for a few years, if you have good talent and strong strength, you will have the opportunity to become a member of the 3 major armies of gods. No matter what happens, you can become a city defender, or become a member of the Chinese official departments such as the Supervision Department, the Heavenly Punishment Department, the Heavenly Supervision Department, etc., which is also very good. But Su Liang knew his talent. Don't even think about going to the military headquarters. According to his current talent, the most he can do is continue to choose a team of divine hunters to join. Then he secretly received the care of the Empress by Qianqian, and slowly rose to prominence, just surviving in the world. See Su Liang in a daze. This is my contact information. If you have figured it out, you can contact me. Of course, it is best for you to wait until you wake up and leave. Wait. Old Gong Li. Gong Li had a black line, if you have something to say it quickly, and if you have something to say it quickly. Su Liang stretched out his hand, do you have any beast crystals? Give me a few. Why do you want the beast crystal? To exchange it for money? Am I such a shameless person? I think you are. Su Liang. I have some use. I need to study it. Do you have any? Don't be nagging. Just give me a few stars. Just 1 star. Gong Li almost choked to death. Does this kid always behave like this when asking for help? Oh shit. Gong Li cursed and took out a few beast crystals from his space converter, placed them on the table, and left without looking back. I always feel like I'm going to be unlucky when I meet this guy. But after walking a little further, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised again. Su Liang looked at the beast crystal on the table. Perfect. This saves him a lot of trouble. Go home and try it out tonight. Chapter 18 Urgent Need of Beast Crystal. In the evening, after having dinner with my grandfather, we chatted for a while, washed up, and then ran to my room and hid. He took off his shirt. Look at the beast-shaped mark of the red-eyed Tianlin on his chest. What on earth is this? It can't be a divine seal, right? You've never seen anyone with a beast-shaped divine seal, right? Su Liang muttered, not knowing whether it was good or bad. He placed the beast crystal in front of himself. There are 5 in total, all 1-star beast crystals. Exuding a faint blood glow. How to induce it? He doesn't even know how to activate the beast energy transformation now. He held a beast crystal in his hand. Suddenly, he felt as if his consciousness was being pulled into that space. His eyes shot open. I saw those golden eyes again. The eyes of Tianlin with red pupils. And it was at this moment that the beast crystal he held outside began to be stimulated with energy. Those bloody powers began to escape and were absorbed by Su Liang's body. In that illusory space, the golden eyes once again shot out golden light and fell on Su Liang's body. That burning pain came over me. He cursed. At the same time, that familiar cold voice came to my ears. Beast energy is being transformed. In this state, Su Liang was suffering from the pain caused by his golden eyes every moment. The pain drove him crazy. Even wanted to commit suicide. I don't know how much time has passed. The golden light gradually faded, and the pain began to subside. He was thinking about it. A virtual panel popped up in front of his eyes. Beast energy transformation. Conversion progress 6/1000000. Beast talent, Eye of Insight 1+0. Divine seal unawakened. Spirit 11+0. Strength 11+5. Agility 11+0. Speed 11+0. Su Liang was suddenly shocked. What? Why are you only adding strength this time? The normal attributes only increased the strength, and the Eye of Insight was not improved, but why were they all increased the first time? Su Liang was puzzled. Is it just activation for the first time? Each attribute comes with a little bonus. If you want to improve in the future, you will need corresponding beast crystals for each attribute improvement. After a while, Su Liang accepted the result. It was not bad. After all, it was a bit perverted to want 5 beast crystals to improve all attributes. In other words, the power of the beast crystal should be converted into the functional values of my body by the ability of this beast's energy transformation. This Eye of Insight may be the innate ability of the red-eyed Tianlin. More beast crystals are needed to increase the value. Su Liang thought. Then when I get more beast crystals, how will I distribute them? I can't always add them to the strength attribute, right? Also, what is this conversion progress? What happens after reaching 1 million conversions? Su Liang didn't know, he would only know when that day comes. Soon, the panel disappeared and Su Liang was pulled out of that state again. He looked at the beast crystal in his hand that had turned into powder. He smiled bitterly and said, "It seems that there is nothing wrong. 5 1-star beast crystals can increase my physical strength attribute by 5 points, which is already very good. Calculated in this way, 1 million 1-star beast crystals are needed. Only then can the progress bar be filled up. It seems that the beast crystal has become my key. I'm afraid this sacred hunting team will go if they don't go. The Eye of Insight has not been improved for the time being, and the divine seal has not yet awakened. We still need to wait. We will know when the time comes." He clenched his fists and could clearly feel that his strength had clearly improved. Just adding 5 points is like increasing the original strength by nearly 0.5 times. When he punched out, it seemed like a sonic boom was created. He glanced at the time. Oh my God, it's already 12 o'clock in the morning. In such a short time, nearly 4 hours passed. Why the hell should I find a safe place if I transform into beast energy in the future? Su Liang raised his lips. From the current point of view, his future situation may change. But currently he needs a large amount of beast crystals to drive the transformation of beast energy. This is a problem. Without divine consciousness, it is impossible to leave the city alone. And even if you become the chosen one, you still need to at least reach the realm of the second seal divine envoy before you can leave the city. Su Liang covered his face. This was a big difficulty. He thought for a while, and it seemed that there was really no way to obtain a large amount of beast crystals for the time being. Go buy it? He doesn't have the money. To kill? Don't have the strength. Even if you try to pluck Gong Lai's wool, it won't help. He won't be willing to do it later, and he can't have too much. That's 1 million 1-star beast crystals. Suddenly, an idea flashed in Su Liang's mind. After entering the Chosen Academy, there is a special hunting ground. Su Liang's lips curled up. The first step is here. He finally fell asleep peacefully. In the early morning, the breeze blows, which is refreshing. Grandpa hunched over and made breakfast. It turned out to be a rare millet porridge. Grandpa. Why do you still have millet porridge to eat? Where did you get it? Grandpa smiled. Just eat, why do you ask so many questions? Su Liang grinned and took a bite. This was not a common food. While eating, Su Liang muttered, Grandpa, I always feel that you have a secret. You can always get good food. You are old enough, and I have never seen you short of my money. Grandpa, how on earth did you do it? Su Luochen glanced at him and hit him on the head with chopsticks. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Su Liang held his head. He glanced at Grandpa with an aggrieved look. In his previous life, when he was in his 40s, his grandfather passed away. He was still out on a mission at that time and didn't have time to see his grandfather for the last time. So when Grandpa left, he didn't know anything. Anyway, the government has taken care of everything and left him only a key. It's the one on Grandpa's chest. He just regarded it as his grandfather's relic. Grandpa, what is the key on your chest used for? Is there some kind of small vault? The old man picked up the chopsticks and tapped it again. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Su Liang was really convinced. Sighing, I really couldn't find out anything. I'm going to school. The old man didn't even look at him. Just watching Su Liang disappear from sight, he put his hand on the key on his chest. The old eyes are cloudy, but they sparkle with a strange light. I hope you never need to use this key. You brat, I'm already old and I still have to help you raise your son. A trace of reminiscence flashed across the old man's eyes. Come to school and walk into the classroom. Noticing some hostile looks, Su Liang ignored them. Zhang Tianhao looked at Su Liang, with a hint of gloomy cruelty in his eyes. When Su Liang passed Leng Lianshuang, he noticed that her eyes were also on him. Their eyes met for a moment. Leng Lianshuang quickly looked away with an indifferent expression. The two people seemed to have become strangers. Su Liang quite liked this situation, just stay away from her and not disturb each other. After Su Liang walked to the back, Leng Lianshuang's desk mate and best friend gently bumped her elbow. Lianshuang? What happened yesterday? Leng Lianshuang looked indifferent. Nothing, don't think too much, he doesn't like me anymore, that's it. The girl's eyes widened. It's fake, it must be fake, that is, you will believe it, but I don't believe it anyway. Hearing this, Leng Lianshuang was stunned for a moment. Yeah, could this be true? He has liked her for so long and is the most attentive. There is no way he would just let her go. Su Liang skillfully walked to Bai Qianqian and sat down. Grinning, Qianqian, it's quite early to come. Bai Qianqian hummed shyly. Su Liang didn't pester Bai Qianqian all the time. After chatting with her for a while, he lay down bored. I was still thinking about where to get the beast crystal from. Now the beast crystal is the key, which can directly improve his physique. I don't know if there is an upper limit to his physical function values. If there is no upper limit, wouldn't he be awesome? Therefore, he is now very short of beast crystals. Su Liang had nothing to do all morning and only listened occasionally. Bai Qianqian had been listening attentively. Of course Su Liang wouldn't bother. By noon, Su Liang looked at Bai Qianqian who hadn't stood up yet. He slapped his face directly in front of her lowered face. Ah! Bai Qianqian was frightened. She didn't expect Su Liang to come over suddenly. Almost kissed. Her face turned red instantly. Su Liang, what are you doing? Su Liang touched his chin and said, What? You want me to ask you to get up? Bai Qianqian said naively. What? It's time to eat. I eat this. Huh? Su Liang frowned. It seems you didn't listen to what I said yesterday. Bai Qianqian was a little panicked. No. You keep asking me, I feel bad. Su Liang chuckled. If you feel sorry for me, please protect me more in the future. But, Bai Qianqian still lowered her head. Bai Qianqian felt that she was not destined to awaken the SSS-level divine seal. I'm afraid that in the future, except for my own life, I will have nothing to repay Su Liang. Stop it, I'll take care of your lunch for the last time, let's go. If you don't get up, I will carry you to the cafeteria. Bai Qianqian was frightened. If someone saw her being held, she would really be embarrassed to see others. He stood up instantly. Su Liang said with a smile, "This is how you behave, let's go." Bai Qianqian could only follow Su Liang obediently. She was really afraid that Su Liang would hug her. But in my heart, I seem to be looking forward to this. So embarrassing / / omega / When they arrived at the cafeteria, Bai Qianqian wanted to slap Su Liang on and pretend to be fat. After being threatened again by him, he sat down and waited. The two of them ate slowly from behind. Bai Qianqian hesitated. Su Liang looked at her shy look and said with a smile, "What's wrong? If you have anything to say, just say it." Bai Qianqian was a little embarrassed to say, "It's just, my mother wants to invite you to my house for a meal. After all, you have helped us so much." But this seems to be the only thing Bai Qianqian and her daughter can do now. Bai Qianqian was afraid of Su Liang's rejection, but also afraid of Su Liang's departure. If she refuses, she will feel a little disappointed. But if I go there doesn't seem to be anything delicious. Su Liang grinned, "Okay, since it's my aunt's invitation, I have to go anyway." Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang's bright and sincere smile, and quickly lowered her head shyly. Chapter 19 Amazing Combat Power. Watching Su Liang and Bai Qianqian leave the canteen together. A pair of cold eyes in that corner stared at their backs. "I want to see how long you can jump." "Squad leader, did you really arrange someone?" Zhang Tianhao glanced at the people around him. "What nonsense are you talking about? Just say you won't follow after school. Don't you want to vent your anger? Okay. You do it, squad leader. What do I have to fear? K him." Zhang Tianhao snorted coldly, "He humiliated me in front of so many people, I will pay him back 10 times 100 times. In the afternoon, fighting class started soon. Su Liang guided Bai Qianqian as usual. I have to say that for the future empress, her understanding is very amazing. He felt that with a few days of guidance, Bai Qianqian's fighting level could definitely be raised to a level. What's bad about her is just external conditions. Once nutrition catches up and physical fitness gradually increases, everything will get better. And as long as she awakens the SSS-level divine seal and enters the chosen academy, the treatment she will receive will be the best. The afternoon continued as usual, and soon it was time to get out of school. The two left school together. Although Bai Qianqian lowered her head, she was still happy inside. He has already thought about it. If he is willing to go, that is a good thing. As for whether there is anything delicious or not, it doesn't matter, this is what they want. And just when leaving school, Su Liang was keenly aware that someone seemed to be following them furtively behind him. The improvement of his mental power made him more and more sensitive to changes in the outside world. Through the eyes of insight, he looked back pretending to be nonchalant. I saw a few figures in the crowd. A sneer appeared at the corner of Su Liang's mouth. You're here for the Yin, right? Su Liang and Bai Qianqian stood at the school gate. Su Liang smiled and said, Qianqian, wait for me here for a while, and don't go away. I remembered something that I need to deal with. Bai Qianqian looked at Su Liang, do you want me to come with you? Su Liang smiled and shook his head, it's okay, just wait for me for a while, I'll be back soon. Bai Qianqian nodded timidly, okay, then I'll wait for you. She was standing right at the school gate. There were many people there, so there wouldn't be any problems. Su Liang knew that their target was just him. He deliberately walked towards the school. There were many alleys around him. If you don't teach these two guys a lesson, it's not the end of the world. A mechanical ladybug flew out of his body. I found an alley with few people and walked in. Not far behind, Zhang Tianhao and Lu Hao looked at each other. Walk. At the same time, Zhang Tianhao turned to a young man next to him who looked about 20 years old and said, teach him a lesson. The young man smiled. Simple, I am not a stupid woman like your class teacher. A ferocious look flashed across Zhang Tianhao's face. You go in first, get him down first, and then we come in again. Okay. The young man nodded and rushed directly into the alley. Su Liang deliberately slowed down. Sure enough, soon, there was a rush of footsteps behind him. Boy! Stop! Su Liang turned his head and looked at the young man. Sure enough, these two guys were looking for help. But there shouldn't be a big problem, at most it's just a one seal God's chosen one. He pretended to be confused. Call me? The young man has a dragon and tiger tattoo on his arm, a devilish smile on his face, and a dagger in his hand, swinging it back and forth. What do you think? Su Liang looked slightly panicked. What are you going to do? The young man sneered. What are you doing? Hand over your valuables. The young man slowly approached Su Liang. Su Liang stepped back slowly. Since it's a show, you have to do the whole thing. I have no money. Su Liang said. Turn around and run. The young man sneered. Run? I saw a faint white light flashing on the young man's legs, and he suddenly increased his speed. Extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he approached Su Liang, grabbed Su Liang's clothes, pushed him against the wall, and put the dagger in his throat. Take it out, the young man shouted. The young man sneered in his heart. It turned out that it was just a fake trick, and he just dared to show off his evil in the school. Su Liang knew that it was almost done. Enough evidence. Seeing that Su Liang remained silent, the young man took advantage of the situation and slapped him. He received instructions from Zhang Tianhao to beat him up, preferably until he was unable to fight back. There was a fierce look in his eyes. You won't give it, right? The young man used his hands and feet to give Su Liang a few hard blows. And at this moment, Su Liang's eyes suddenly condensed. One hand was raised to block his slap. The other leg was slightly arched, blocking the impact of the young man's knee. At this moment, the young man had not yet reacted. How dare you resist? Before he could finish a sentence, Su Liang started a riot. A sudden uppercut hit his chin. The young man's pupils froze instantly. The pain made him furious. You are looking for death. The power of Su Liang's punch was so terrifying that it caused the young man unbearable pain and made his gums bleed. He was furious. The light of the divine mark on the foot is flickering. It's just the lowest level of white light, but its power is not something ordinary people can resist. Su Liang subconsciously blocked his whip kick with his arm. The other hand had already reached for the dagger at his waist. But in the next moment, his seemingly fierce whip hit Su Liang's arm. But he only pushed Su Liang back a few steps. Su Liang was stunned for a moment. Why was he so weak? It shouldn't be. This is still a leg with the power of the divine seal attached to it. Is the power so small? Su Liang vaguely realized that his 16-point strength value might be beyond his imagination. He gave up the idea of taking out the dagger. The young man was also surprised when he saw that his kick had not knocked Su Liang away. But he couldn't control that much now, and he became angry. Now I just want to beat Su Liang until his teeth are all over the floor. The light from the divine seal on his right leg surged very quickly. Instantly close to Su Liang. The dagger in his hand suddenly struck Su Liang's body. In Su Liang's eyes, all the young man's movements seemed to be in slow motion. It's really too weak. A sparkle appeared in Su Liang's eyes. He half bowed to avoid the sharp edge of the dagger. A straight punch came out. Used all his strength. All those 16 points of strength exploded. This punch hit the opponent's chest. Bang! There was a dull sound, and at this moment, the young man's eyes seemed to burst out. Click! He even heard the sound of his sternum breaking. His heart was shaking wildly and he began to fear. The whole person was knocked backwards by Su Liang's punch and hit the wall. At this time, Su Liang already had a general understanding of his own strength. After increasing the value by 5 points, my current strength is no weaker than this low-level 1 Seal Divine Chosen One. This means that if he fights the spinster today, it will be easier for him. The young man in front of me is just a gangster from the bottom of society. What was awakened was the lowest level C-level speed-type Divine Seal, and its combat power was even worse. The young man's face has been rolled up into a chrysanthemum. The pain in his chest made him unable to react. But Su Liang would not give him a chance to react. Knock the dagger out of his hand. Lifted it up with one hand. Suddenly hit the ground. Bang! There was another muffled sound. The young man screamed in pain. Su Liang had already started to punch. Bang! 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 Punch followed by punch, the young man no longer had any power to fight back. One face was also mangled with blood. The screams from behind gradually became fainter. Su Liang snorted coldly, robbing me? You don't even take a pee and take a photo, you are a B*********************. D. As for the two Zhang Tianhao who were hiding outside and not approaching, they were already trembling all over as they looked at the video picture projected from Zhang Tianhao's high-tech watch. Lu Hao stammered, "Squad leader, is this guy so perverted? He will beat the Chosen One to death. Where did he get such strength?" Zhang Tianhao's face also looked a little ugly. Damn! Waste! What a waste! Just like Liao Yuqian. The squad leader is out. Lu Hao exclaimed. The two people quickly turned into the alley next to them. Su Liang walked out of the alley and took care of the blood on his fists. Out of the corner of his eye, he glanced vaguely at the alley where they were hiding. Sneered. Turned around and entered a store. Zhang Tianhao and Lu Hao rushed into the dark alley. Looking at the dying young man. Zhang Tianhao's face was extremely gloomy. Waste. Squad leader, let's go. Lu Hao was a little scared. But soon, Zhang Tianhao had a bold idea in his heart. What if this guy dies? The corners of his mouth curved into a cold arc. Chapter 20 The Bloodthirsty Rat Returns. The two of them got on the school bus back to Bai Qianqian's home. Bai Qianqian looked at what Su Liang was carrying. Why did you buy so many things? I originally wanted to treat you to dinner, but this. Bai Qianqian didn't expect that Su Liang went shopping. Su Liang smiled slightly. Fool, can I go to your house for dinner empty-handed? I'm not that shameless, and don't worry, I just bought something randomly, it's not worth much. Bai Qianqian lowered her head awkwardly. No more words were spoken. The school bus hovers and moves very fast. In about 10 minutes, we arrived near her home. Soon he arrived at her house. The situation at home is still about the same, with many places in tatters. No repairs. In today's world, polarization still exists. There are many rich and powerful people, as well as ordinary poor people like them. It's just that the government will provide support, so they won't starve to death. But when the mother and daughter met a man who did nothing but drink and gamble, their life was naturally more difficult. Chengdu has several civilian areas, which are in sharp contrast to the high-rise buildings in wealthy areas. Mom, we are back. Lu Xian quickly walked out of the kitchen. Auntie. Su Liang also shouted. Lu Xian had a smile on her face. Xiao Liang, oh, you came as soon as you came, why did you buy something? I just wanted to thank you. Su Liang smiled and said, it's just a thought, you're welcome. Su Liang looked at Lu Xian, she was still a little haggard. But the scowl is no longer there. Maybe the man's death would be a relief for her. But after all, I can't let go so quickly. Lu Xian set up a memorial tablet for him with 3 sticks of incense. Simple. This is how it is in this era, everything is simplified and there are not so many red tapes. Soon, Lu Xian prepared the meal and served it to the table. It is a very simple meal. It can be seen that preparing these things requires several days of rations for their mother and daughter. The two mother and daughter lived a very miserable life. But this situation will change soon. Xiao Liang, I really thank you for that day. If it weren't for you, Qian and I might have followed him. Su Liang had a faint smile on his face. Auntie, I definitely can't sit idly by in that situation. Qian is my classmate, we help each other. Lu Xian nodded, but she still looked down upon Su Liang. Most people would just run away like crazy when encountering that kind of situation. But Su Liang killed the strange beast forcefully and protected their mother and daughter. Mom, don't talk about those things. Bai Qian said. Lu Xian smiled, yes, don't talk about that. Xiao Liang, I heard from Qian that you take good care of Qian at school. Thank you. She has always been lonely. Mom. Bai Qian curled her lips and lowered her head shyly. Su Liang smiled, it should be. Lu Xian looked at Bai Qian and said, what? You can't even say this? Xiaoliang helped you stand up. Bai Qian's face turned red. It's not, I. Bai Qian didn't know how to answer the question and was shy. Su Liang just smiled lightly and chatted with Lu Xian for a while. Time passed quickly. The sky is gradually getting darker. Xiao Liang, I won't keep you here. The house is still like this. It's getting late, so I'm afraid there may be danger at night. Lu Xian said. Su Liang smiled and said, Auntie, it's okay, I'll go back first. Okay, be careful on the road. Well, you go in. Qian, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bai Qian said in a low voice, looking forward to meeting tomorrow. She likes him sitting next to her, the sound of his breathing, and the faint scent of soap powder on his body. At this time, night falls. In this civilian area, some figures were running quickly in the night and separated. Xiaolan, are they out of the ground? Qi Hengchu's figure was also moving quickly, heading in a certain direction. The clear and lively voice came from the headset. It's estimated that they will emerge from the ground in 2 minutes. Captain, be careful, the number this time is even greater than the day before yesterday. Gong Lai's voice came from the headset. Damn it, what the hell is going on? Why is it in this place again? Xiaolan's voice came, we have found out that there is an ancient drainage pipe deep underground, which just connects to the city from outside the high east wall of the city. These bloodthirsty rats should have discovered that pipe by chance. Gong Lai cursed, damn it, I'll blow him up later. The voice of Captain Qi Hengchu came from the headset, don't be nagging, quickly launch the Forbidden God Realm. Imprison them in a certain area to protect the safety of civilians. Yes. Yes. Gong Lai's figure moved quickly in the darkness. Soon we arrived at the place we were familiar with last time. He was about to take out the Forbidden God Realm stake. Suddenly, he realized that there was a familiar boy in front of him. Damn it. Why are you here? Holy shit. Are you gay? The two spoke almost at the same time. Gong Lai was so angry that his heart twitched. Your uncle, I don't have time to beep with you. Gong Lai was seen grabbing the Forbidden God Realm stake from the back of his armor. Throw it to the ground. Drink lightly in your mouth. We have arrived at the designated location. I'm here too. I'll take my place too. Qi Hengchu's voice came. Unlock the forbidden world of gods. Yes. 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 Gong Lai didn't hesitate at all. A palm was slapped on the Forbidden God Realm stake, and purple light surged on the arm. In an instant, the familiar light pillar of the Forbidden God Realm soared into the sky, and then instantly surrounded it with the other 2 boundary pillars. Gong Lai breathed a sigh of relief. The Forbidden God Realm is completed. Qi Hengchu's voice sounded in the headset. Blood Drinker, prepare to take action. Kill with all your strength. Yes. Su Liang looked at the scene in front of him. It suddenly dawned on me that it was really familiar. The overall quality of their Ash Kill team is pretty good. Is this another strange beast showing up? The sudden sound almost shook the cigarette out of Gong Lai's hand. Damn, why did you forget this B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Gong Li glared. Why are you here, kid? Leave quickly. It's dangerous here. Su Lang asked nonchalantly, another bloodthirsty rat? Gong Li nodded solemnly. Well, the number is more than last time. Su Liang frowned and asked, how come it appears twice in a row? Still at the same location? Gong Li thought for a moment and told him it was okay. There is an old drainage pipe brought from outside the city wall underground. It was not checked last time. Su Liang nodded, so that's it. Gong Li said angrily, get out of here quickly, it's dangerous here. Su Liang smiled, why are you panicking? The Forbidden God realm has been opened. Do you have any more beast crystals? Give me some more. Gong Li glared, do you want to eat beast crystals? Tell me. Did you take my beast crystals and sell them for money? Su Liang rolled his eyes, do I look like someone who is so short of money? I am really doing research. No. Get out of here. Gong Li blew out a smoke ring. Su Liang yelled, stingy guy. Gong Li glared, you kid, don't push yourself too far. 5 one-star beast crystals can be exchanged for more than 2,000 yuan. I'm stingy? Then give it back. Su Liang smiled and waved his hand, don't make trouble, I have studied everything. Gong Li said angrily, I told you to leave quickly. This is not a joke. If you encounter danger, do you think you can be as lucky as last time? Okay, I'm leaving. But at this time. Xiaolan's anxious voice came from Gong Li's headset. Old Gong, 8 bloodthirsty rats escaped from the Forbidden God realm from the last direction. Hurry. Gong Li's eyes changed instantly. What? Where? The sudden change also stopped Su Liang in his tracks. Xiaolan's voice came, it's the same location as last time. I guess the exit is the same. What? It's still the same position as last time? Gong Li blurted out. And Su Liang's expression finally changed. Last location? Could it be that there are also bloodthirsty rats that have escaped from the Forbidden God realm? Wasn't the last location the location of Bai Qianqian's home? Su Liang's face changed wildly. There was no waiting for Gong Li's reaction. He ran back directly in the direction of Bai Qianqian's home. At the same time, Gong Li also set off. Boy. B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Don't go. Gong Lai chased Su Liang from behind, but Su Liang was also very fast. Gong Lai was going to be furious. Xiaolan's voice came from the headset. Old Gong, be careful, there seems to be a bloodthirsty rat king. Gong Lai's face turned ugly. The voice of Captain Chi Hengchu came from the headset. Gong Lai, we have no way to help you, so we can only leave it to you, so be careful. Gong Lai responded, understood. Xiaolan, send me the thermal image of the flow of bloodthirsty rats. Okay. Right away. A holographic projection screen appeared in front of Gong Lai. Inside were the hordes of bloodthirsty rats. Watching Su Liang running wildly ahead. Boy! Do you want your life? Get back here. Su Liang ignored it at all. I'm a little worried, don't let anything happen. Don't let anything happen. By Qianshan. You are listening to it in Eugene Light Novels.